Today is the day, guys. We are going to crown a new champion of the BSL. It's the final day. Dawid versus Mihu. And then, of course, in our third and fourth place match, it's going to be Sziky versus Gypsy. I'm joined by Curiosity. And Curiosity, what are your thoughts on today's finals? I mean, I think they're going to be about as best as we could have possibly gotten.
Right, so Dawid is looking as strong as ever. I don't think he's actually lost a match in this entire tournament. And Mihu, despite losing a couple matches, I mean, just looks like he has an insane skill level, insane mechanics, just macros out of nowhere, gets a bunch of units. So I looked forward to that, and that should be a very tight series. Could go either way. I mean, it's hard to gauge really. But before that, we're going to have a third place in match as well. And I know you're excited about Gypsy in the TVZ.
Yeah, of course, me and Gypsy are quite close. And yesterday he ended up falling to Dawid. But Dawid played amazingly. Gypsy, I think he had a chance in game 2, but unable to figure out that there was a carrier switch. Cost him that game. But he's going to have his shot at redemption here versus Sziky. But Sziky, on the other hand, he's also looking for redemption because yesterday he fell to Mihu 3-0, and those were definitely not typical Sziky games, so he definitely has something to prove here that yesterday was a fluke, and he's hoping to take down Gypsy and getting third place.
Yeah, so the third place match is going to be a best of 5, and then that'll lead up to a finals. It's going to be a best of 7, so at least an extra game or 2 possible here in the finals. And I gotta say, with how Gypsy plays Terran versus Zerg, it looks very similar to how Mihu plays. Just gets a bunch of units. The major difference is Gypsy doesn't miss upgrades. Like, he's very on top of his build. He doesn't miss upgrades. He knows his gas timing. He knows when to get stim, when to get range, and he's really on top of that. So if Gypsy plays how he normally plays, Zyky's gonna have a very tough time coming out ahead.
Yeah, if you watch Gypsy's streams, he's one of the few Terran players that actually goes for like super fast +1 eBay, even though he scouts a 2-hatch opener. So it is going to be definitely contrasting styles from what we saw versus Mihu yesterday. And also on the Wavelet game, we saw Mihu actually plopping down a ton of factories at his other main. And that's not something that Mihai or Gypsy goes for. He loves to go for the BC follow-up. He goes for drops sometimes. And yesterday we saw almost no drops from Mihu, I don't think. It was just pure Vessel Man. So definitely contrasting styles in that sense, but macro is going to be similar, and we know Mihu was bringing it yesterday with the macro. I mean, Sziky, he had opportunities to bust out of his natural or bust out of his third base, but just relentless non-stop units from Mihu kept Sziky at bay.
Yeah, and Sziky, he did have his chances, especially in the Aztec game, just missing move outs. And critically, I think it was mostly Mihu doing the small move outs that really threw Sziky off guard. Just a couple Marines here and there, 4 Marines going to a base and wiping out an entire drone line. Those kind of plays you hardly ever see. So that was pretty impressive from Mihu. And yeah, Sziky definitely has a shot here. I mean, his mutalist control, he showed it's very strong. But other aspects of his game were slightly lacking yesterday.
Yeah, he had the huge, well, I don't want to say huge build order advantage, but as a Terran, when I see Zerg get away with 3 bases off of like a 9 pool or an overpool, and I'm not able to damage it, I feel like that's about as dream of an opener as you're going to get from the Zerg perspective. So Sziky, he's going to need to turn it around today, otherwise he's going to go out pretty quickly, I think, versus Gypsy, because he does not miss a beat in his build order really almost ever. But this should be an exciting series. We do know what the vetoes are already. It was a vertebrae ban from Gypsy, and then Sziky banned Ascension, and that means actually the first map of the day is going to be Good Night. And even though I mentioned yesterday, and I personally think Good Night is a good Terran map, after the stream was over, obviously went in Discord with Gypsy, and he did not like Good Night. He told me it's not a Terran map. So to see him pick this first makes me think he might have something up his sleeve. And even though you were talking about how he likes to go for, like, you know, upgrades, you know, Gypsy is one of the players in the foreign scene that can play 1-1-1. I remember last season when Benzine was in the ladder, he was even experimenting with 2-port Wraith. So the fact that, now that I'm thinking about it, Good Night is a wallable map, I guess there is some world where we might see some type of 1-1-1 tech opener.
I've actually seen Gypsy actually practice 1-1-1, even did it against Scan in a show match, and it looks very strong. And he often opts to go for 8 racks and then follow up with 1-1-1, and that can be very punishing for Zerg opening with a 12 hatch. So we'll see. Should be an exciting match. And I mean, here we see Gypsy. This is the farthest he's gone in a BSL. Finally broke through into a round of 8. And Sziky, a more veteran player, you can see he's been in the round of 4 before in BSL10, got 7th. So pretty impressive showing for Sziky.
Yeah, you can see Gypsy not a lot of games, and you know, even versus Zerg it says a 0% win rate, but I actually think it's because he hasn't even played versus a Zerg yet, because he's just had so few games. And of course, Sziky's profile statistics, I mean, it tells the whole story. He's got basically like a 45 to 50% win rate versus all the races, pretty consistent. And if you've got a 50% win rate or so at this level, that's pretty darn good. So definitely a formidable opponent. And you know, Sziky, I mean, you know more about the history of Sziky than I do, but he's definitely looking to show that, you know, the past was not a fluke. He's returned. He wants to definitely make 3rd place here and prove that, okay, maybe I didn't make 1st and 2nd this season, but next season I'm coming for the gold.
All right, I think beating Bonyth was a big claim from Sziky. Finally broke through, was able to beat one of the ball or Bonyth in BSL, and that's a major achievement on its own, of course. But here we have, he's going up against a Terran and Gypsy, who also is looking forward to claim 3rd place. It's a big difference between 3rd and 4th. You don't want to go out in a tournament losing your last 2 matches. Even if you get to round of 4, it kind of end on a sour note. So definitely looking to win here.
Yeah, and I also think there's a bit of USA pride, right? I see a lot of players spamming USA in the chat when Gypsy's playing. But I'm trying to think, when was the last time someone in NA even
TT1
got 3rd place?
TT1
got 3rd place?
The only time. He beat Dandy in PSL, I want to say 8, 3-0 in the 3rd place match. That was the only time, because if I can recall correctly, Dragon and Jaeyoon also got to semifinals and the 3rd place match, but they unfortunately did not win. So TT1's the only one.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Literally the only NA player to get 3rd place is TT1. Every other time it's like, you know, the crew basically. Eon Zerg, Bonyth, The Walt, True Touch, Gorinich. It's always the same players getting 3rd place. So yeah, this is definitely a big moment for not just Gypsy here, but also for NA representation. It could be one of their highest place finishes ever. And we do finally have the players ready. So let's get into Good Night. It's going to be the first game of the series between Gypsy and Sziky. Okay, in the top right, our Zerg player, it is none other than Sziky.
And in the bottom right, we have our Terran, Gypsy.
Yep, well, Good Night. I'm pretty sure you can wall the natural, but maybe it's a little bit too big, but I know for a fact you can wall the main entrance. So we may actually see that 1-1-1 type of opener if Gypsy's got that up his sleeve. You know, he hasn't pulled it out in quite a while. I also don't see him use it often on stream, but I know for 100% that it is in the arsenal. Now, I think Gypsy will have to be careful if he's planned something like that, because didn't yesterday Sziky go for 2 pull first openers? I'm definitely wavelet. I'm trying to think, was the final game also on Good Night, was that a pull opener?
Trying to remember, but I think he just went for 1 9 pull, and we do see Gypsy's gonna go for a wall at his natural. And I think you're correct, you can wall this off with 2 depots in the barracks. And I mean, this could lead to some unorthodox opener from Gypsy, not just standard racks expand.
Yeah, so there's the confirmation that Chook is quite small, and that means that this will be 100% wallable. Now, some Zerg players, do actually build mass slings into this, and it can be surprisingly effective because the surface area on the top side is huge for Zerg. They can get almost a complete half surround on the depot, and it deals a lot of damage. So Gypsy, he can't underbuild Marines here despite having the wall. However, going for this opener does allow him to either tech quite fast or power, build a ton of SCVs quite quickly off minimal defense. Now we do see that this is going to be the 12 hatch.
So it's a 12 hatch, and Gypsy didn't take a gas. It's just going to be a Rax expand. He could still follow us up with tech, or maybe Rax play with an academy quickly. He could also do a fast +1. You have the wall, so there's less of a threat of dying to Lings outright. Less risky against 2 hatch. What do you think Gypsy's going to go for?
I think this is going to be eBay follow-up with +1, just knowing how Gypsy really loves to get upgrades if he can, and going for an opener like this, I mean, just allows you to get it, not necessarily for free, but with minimal commitment to the defense. So I expect that. Now, I'm always curious with this scouting, because this drone actually might die. If that SCV gotten pulled off, I think he could have killed the SCV.
Oh.
Wow, this is so risky to do that. But this scout, what does Sziky really see? He sees a wall, and this could have been command center, it could have been gas, and with this fast gas going up from Gypsy, this looks like a tech opener, but knowing him, I think this is going to be eBay.
Right, because he didn't confirm much. He didn't see the command center timing, right, Sziky? And he didn't see if it was gas or not. Yeah. So he just sees a wall. He's still kind of in the blind. He has to keep tabs on the barracks to see if it's producing Marines or not. But the thing is, he doesn't have an overlord. You don't get an overlord with these spawn positions. So unless he gets links to the front, he's really going to be in the dark here.
Yeah, and already eBay, I think, went down for Gypsy. That was a big block near the bottom side of his command center. So this should be fast +1. And behind this, probably going to be like a 3 racks or 4 racks follow-up. Gypsy is somebody that watches a lot of games, whether it's pros or his own games or BSL VODs. I'm sure he watched yesterday and saw how Mihu kind of just... There's no other way to word it. He just ran over Sziky, and I'm sure he was aware that Mihu just, was just in his face the whole time, built a ton of units. So I do expect this to be at least a 4 racks follow-up. Now this SCV, if it can scout this hatch, that would be amazing.
Well, he's going to see the Spire. But here we go. It's going to retreat and see the 3rd hatch. So it's 2.5 hatch Muta. Gypsy confirms it. And now he has Marines out the front. He wants to deny the Zergling from scouting. This will actually be important.
Yeah, that's something that you really don't see. Oh, is that a lifted Rax? You can't do that, man! He tries to catch the Ling, and the Ling comes in, and then... Okay, he wants to die? No, yeah, he's going to come in and scout the eBay and barracks, and now he's going to know, like, okay... even though he doesn't see the eBay yet, seeing the fact that that Rax is so late, he can confirm obviously that this has to be upgrades coming in for Gypsy. Is he gonna lose an SCV? Oh my gosh. For anybody that watches Gypsy's stream, Gypsy's not happy about that one.
Yeah, from 1 out of 10, Gypsy's at a 6.5 level. Yeah. Tilted just from that Zergling getting in, and yeah, that's a pretty big mistake there. And that Zergling found the perfect opportunity to just waltz in too.
Yeah, it's funny because I've never seen somebody move out with 4 Marines like that, and it's genius because you prevent the Zerg from seeing anything. In fact, actually using the 4 Marines like that looks like it's going to be like a 2 racks push, because if you're on 1 racks and you lose all those Marines, that's probably all your Marines. So it's pretty risky to do that. So I like the play, but unfortunately backfires this time around. And Sziky sees that it is 4 racks also, not just seeing the upgrades.
Right, and I think Gypsy had a slight supply block there. A little bit painful here. The biggest concern here is that, because he went eBay, his academy upgrades are going to be slightly late. So there's a window of opportunity here for Sziky to get some damage done before Gypsy has range. So Gypsy has to be on top of his turret placement, on top of his defense. Like you can see at the front, there's nothing right now. The Link should be hitting the depot as the mutas come in. Gypsy has to be very careful with how he manages the defense here.
Yeah, and Goodnight, bottom right and top left are one of the positions that I just despise, having to face Mutalists with just pure Marines. It's very hard to build turrets at your natural in good positions. So Sziky, he may be able to exploit the weakness there. Coming in, snipes that turret. I'm not even sure if it got canceled, but at least, well, I was going to say at least the SCV stayed alive, but it gets taken down. Another cancel there. And Sziky so far is doing a good job. And just like yesterday, even though he has the 3rd hatch in his main, he's got a 4th hatch going up at top left. Okay, that didn't do as much damage as I thought. That's like the sweet spot right there if Zerg can get into it, because units just funnel either up the ramp or down the ramp. But now, just like yesterday, units are going to be out on the map.
Yeah, and Sziky does have a quick retreat path, but Gypsy is going across the map. Sunken's being morphed now, but these are going to not be in time. The Mutas have to retreat here. So Gypsy, instead of defending, he's going to defend via attacking, forcing Sziky to retreat. And this is smart play. It's much easier to get your structures up without the Mutalisk in play, harassing you constantly. And I like this from Gypsy. He finally does scout the 3rd base. So
yeah, he scanned it. And I'm 100% sure Gypsy's keeping in mind, like, hey, yesterday this looked identical. You spammed a ton of Sunkens. You had almost no defense other than the handful of Mutas. I bet you're going for that fast hatchery again, and that's, again, the case. Remember yesterday you were talking about the lack of Mutas, right? Like, there's still only 7. This can't stop 4 barracks.
So the Mutalisk count is growing. We don't know if he's working on +1. He does have 9 Mutalisks now, but again, Gypsy, I mean, I think he just sniped another Mutalist there. Sziky has to be careful. This is where Mihu constantly peeled off 3 Marines or 4 Marines and just went to that 3rd base while keeping the Mutas occupied. Gypsy has like 10 Marines here. Eventually this will get whittled down, but if he can group up his 2nd group of Marines, then just the 8 Mutas is not enough.
Yeah, I mean, if he can branch off even 1 or 2 Marines right now and just stim it to top left, he could get a lot of damage done. In fact, I even tried that today on the ladder. I literally just branched off 1 Marine, got to the 3rd base, and it killed 4 drones. So that could be a slick move. It's if he's able to get out of vision at any point. But for now, he's content with just facing the Mutaball head on. He's synced up another group of his army. Those Lings, I mean, it's a decent amount, but they don't have armor. Oh no, that was a move command. But remember, these Marines do have +1 weapons, so they hit really hard. And I feel like I'm having flashbacks to yesterday. There's a Sunken coming up when really Sziky needs those lurkers.
Yeah, so 1 lurker egg at the ramp, but again, like yesterday, 1 lurker egg is not enough to block in that position. He really needs to buy himself a little bit more time. Zerglings are not really going to be effective here, even above the ramp. Just no upgrades against +1 Marines. And you can see Gypsy has to be careful still. The Mutalisk can get a good angle here.
Yeah, I think Sziky's engaging a little bit too quickly, but maybe not. The lurker does morph in time, but remember, it's only 1. Oh, Gypsy doesn't go for it, though. I think he could have sat on the high ground and not necessarily get through right now, but with his reinforcing units, maybe be able to plow through. But he's fine with that, because behind this, he's got tanks and he's got vessels coming. And remember, yesterday, Mihu had a lot of success with his tank push.
Yeah, so Gypsy's just going to retreat, not throw away that bio wall. Fortunately for him, he kept most of his medics alive. I think he still has 3 or 4. And Sziky doesn't have a ton of Mutalisks here. So the tank push, if it comes, it's actually going to be very effective. You really need Mutalisks to defend a kind of push like this before Defilers.
Oh my.
Zziky's hive is actually very, very late here.
Dude, he already has some +1 armor also, so he's able to tank that lurker shot. Okay, how many Mutas is that? Okay, it's still 10. But tanks are out on the map, and they're going to actually get into position across the map. So this backstab is nice, but knowing Gypsy, he'll be able to multitask this and take down the Mutas while also pushing the natural. So Sunkens and lurkers, how's he going to be able to actually get on top of the tanks?
So it's just 1 tank, so Sziky doesn't have to panic here. Or actually, it's 2 tanks. Okay, so now there's a clock on Sziky. He should retreat right away with these Mutalisks. Gypsy has to be careful that these tanks aren't too exposed. Well, there you go, the Marines clumping up with the tanks nearby. And, I mean, there's a clock on Sziky here. He won't be able to defend, just stalling till Defiler.
Well, he does have 11 Mutas, and there is high ground that you can see, obviously, right next to that tank. And that's why
1 tank.
Yeah, that's why tank pushes are very dangerous to go for because you can lose them so quickly, but he still has one left over. No vessel out just yet. Okay, as I say that, here he comes. And those 3 lurkers are repositioning and setting up for a hold lurker. Said, oh, maybe not. Is he going to try and flank again just like yesterday?
I don't think the flank is the play. If he holds position, he can even snipe the vessel before it arrives.
Oh, that tank. That tank is so important to Gypsy right now. It's so strong in this push. And those... Oh, okay. The lurkers are actually going to push this back, but there's still a single tank left over. There is now a vessel, probably has a radiate. So that means that those Mutas, if they try and poke in again, do have to be careful. But that tank is so far forward and gets taken down before it even gets off a single shot.
So now Gypsy, the push is dead. He's going to have to transition, working on that second vessel. I hope he has 2 eBays here and he's upgrading both upgrades. But Sziky was able to defend. Gypsy's going to commit here. He does have +1 armor. The lurkers will 3-shot Marines.
Oh my god.
Looks like just too many lurkers.
Yeah, that is so many lurkers. I'm shocked that he went for that. I mean, even Boxer, I don't think, could have triangle microed through all of that. That was a... What was that? Almost a full group of lurker defense. But macro just ridiculous from Gypsy. He's still got a complete 12 group of Marines sitting there waiting to actually back this up. But here comes the Lings and lurkers. And this is going to be so hard now that he's lost 3 or 4 tanks.
Yeah, the Mutalists are still alive. The Irradiate was used. But again, he only loses 1 Mutalist and bruises the rest. Whoa, what was that? Okay, those medics. I thought he attacked the lurker there.
Okay, he's got to be careful. There's so many lurkers, obviously, but Defiler is going to be coming pretty soon, and with nothing like a tank or overwhelming amounts of vessels, he could definitely be breached by a Dark Swarm push. But as I say that, did we see a Defiler mound when we looked at Zeky's main? Okay, there it is. It is... I would say Consume is probably about halfway done because this Hive seemed a little bit late.
Gypsy's on 6 barracks. He already has like the ability to make battle cruisers, but I think it would be too soon as he's basically contained right now. Really needs to break out on the map, make things hectic to use the battle cruisers effectively. +1 carapace is done for the lurkers. I don't think Gypsy should commit here. Still a lot of lurkers. He has a nice concave and +1 armor, but looks like he is going to be able to break through.
Those Marines on the left side need to actually help out. I can't believe he got through something like 8 lurkers. +2 already kicked in for him. So even though the +1 armor kicked in, good +2 power spike. And behind this, despite losing so many lurkers, Zeky's feeling confident about taking that 4th base. And remember yesterday, Mihu just didn't let him get a breath. So if Sziky can actually get this up and running, I think he's going to still have a really good position. Yesterday, what was supply? Like 100 to 50 in the Mihu games? We can see that's not the case this time around. It's like 110 to 80, so a much better position.
Yeah, Mihu had much better fights with this tank pushes than Gypsy did. And I think Sziky is much better drone in comparison. He got away with the 3rd. No economic damage on. I guess forcing those 3 Sunkens was about it, and then with the tank push a few more. But here's the swarm push you're talking about, and this can be pretty devastating for the Terran player.
Yeah, those lurkers almost got into position where they could have contained the Terran, so nicely done from Gypsy to prevent that from happening. But with more Lings and already a stepway to the natural, this secondary Defiler, I think he just used all of his irradiates too. This could be game ending. He's not aware that another Defiler follow-up is coming, and there's no answer. There's no fire bats, there's no tanks, there's only 2 vessels, but that's not enough to deal with like 5 lurkers and multiple Dark Swarms. Oh no, he's getting contained.
Yeah, lurkers marching forward. The 1 Defiler still alive. Another swarm didn't actually move that forward. I think Gypsy has like 2 fire bats, and there's not a ton of lurkers here. Scourge coming in. The new vessels are still alive. He should have irradiate soon.
These 2 fire bats are doing so much work. What happened to the remaining lurkers? I guess they got irradiated by those two vessels that were sitting over top. And that is a nice save from Gypsy, but he's still got to worry about Sziky being on 4 base because everybody knows, 3 base Zerg compared to 4 base Zerg, there's a huge difference. Like, there's a reason that Zerg players just camp until they can get their 4 bases, because once their econ kicks in and once they can just pump out non-stop ultras and lings, oh man, does it become very, very difficult for Terran to hold.
Yeah, Gypsy has that 4th gas in his sights. There's not a ton of lurkers here. Some new ones just more, so he should be able to buy himself some time. Ultralisk Cavern is done. I think Sziky is about to have +2 carapace, which means he'll be even on upgrades. But I think Gypsy's on top of his, so he should have +3 soon. And you really want to be ahead on upgrades for as long as possible. And you can see he's pressuring 2 fronts at once. Doesn't want to let Sziky out on the map.
That's going to be a catch-up right there. Yesterday, I remember a lot of people in the chat wondering, where the heck are the plagues? Well, this time around, with better econ and ability to breathe in the mid game, I think we're going to see a ton of catch-up being placed on all of these vessels, all of these marine medic balls. I also love the spores, keeping the vessels at bay. And we do see Gypsy taking the 4th base, and he definitely wants that gas at the 3rd base. And the reason is because he's got battle cruisers coming.
Yeah, 2 starport battle cruisers. Sziky didn't get carapace, so Gypsy doesn't need +1 weapons to one-shot those Scourge. And he's still putting on a ton of pressure here. The difference is from last games, from yesterday, is that Sziky already has that 4th class established. And while the supply here is actually hugely in Gypsy's favor, that'll change swiftly once the Ultralisks start being produced. I mean, we're looking at Sziky with 7 or 8 hatcheries.
Yeah, it's going to be insane macro in the next couple minutes for Sziky, and he will explode in supply. And we'll probably see at some point Gypsy's supply plummet once those plagues start, coming one after the other. For now, I see about 2 ultras, just a couple defilers and a couple lurkers. Still Sziky trying to get his 4th base online, and he snuck out a drone to top middle right beneath Gypsy's nose. So if that goes unscouted, oh, actually, Gypsy, did he just go? He's stimming out. He instantly finds it.
Yeah, this is very important. You don't want to see Zerg on 5 gas. And, well, Gypsy did take a 4th at bottom left. I think he's going to make some bunkers here just to defend this a little bit better. Yeah, bunkers at the ramp with a couple fire bats, which is nice. The vessel count isn't at a large number. Sziky's done a much better job at sniping the vessels here and there.
And where's the catch-up? He's got the energy for it, but oh, there it is. And that means that these Marines are not long for this world, but they did do a good job, not just canceling it, but also getting a kill onto that hatchery. But Sziky still has like 8 hatch production. He's still got good saturation at his 3rd and 4th base. Meanwhile, Gypsy's got good saturation too. He's already got the 4 bases set up, soon to be 5 probably. But here come the Ling Ultra Defiler combo.
Yeah, and Gypsy has very nice upgrades. 3-2 versus 2-0 Zerg. But I'm worried a little bit about the vessel count. We're only looking at 3. He should have a couple more at his natural, maybe, if he didn't already make battle cruisers.
Yeah, he's had the battle cruiser add-on for so long, but where are they? I don't even see them built up anywhere. Okay, well, 2 of them going to the right side. Now, I know Gypsy likes going for 2 battle cruisers, but without +1 weapon on them, I think that they're just going to die pretty quickly to these Scourge. I imagine one of them's going to die right here. There's just not enough DPS to knock them down. There goes one. And these expensive units, already half of them gone.
Yeah, and we have a small group here at bottom left with Swarm. There are fire bats in the bunker. The fire bats will deal with the Lynx, but the Ultralisk is going to have a very... okay, never mind. Lynx die instantly, so the Ultralisk shouldn't be able to kill everything here. And Gypsy is going to be able to defend that base. In the meantime, he's countering Sziky's 4th. Looks like he has a window here. No Defiler. The Nidus is at the 3rd.
Yeah, no Defiler, and with no Lurkers, no Dark Swarm. I mean, there's only a single Lurker. These Ultras are getting mowed down by the +3 weapon. This one battle cruiser has bought a lot of attention over there. Also, a lot of attention on the left side. But now, with reinforcing units coming from Sziky, Defilers popping out, I think he's going to hold this. Wow, that is a lot of Ultras. He's going to lose all of his vessels almost. He's going to probably lose this entire bio ball once a plague comes in. And bottom left is still being, annoying with that single Dark Swarm and Ultralisk.
+5 just finished on these Ultralisks too, so you can see how tough of a time these Marines are having with killing them. And then just this one Defiler is actually doing a lot to distract Gypsy there. More battle cruisers here at the natural. I feel like Gypsy could afford, if not 1, maybe 2 more starports and really put on the pressure with the battle cruisers.
Yeah, he's talked about going into 3 or 4 starport battle cruisers. Now that's not a good sign if you are a Gypsy fan. He's got a ton of idle SCVs. at his natural, and they're just sitting there. He needs to transfer him. I know he's got a big bank, but when Zerg's on 4 or 5 bases, that bank can get eviscerated. But I just realized the natural of Sziky's not really running, but the gas is still running, which is obviously the crucial thing. A single battle cruiser trying to be the hero to save these Marines from the Ultras. Can he do it?
I mean, it's going to be an even trade, basically. Oh, but look, there's an opportunity here for Sziky to get into the third base. Bunker was empty. Battlecruiser is still alive, but you can see it's only one now. One is not really as threatening. And, I mean, I feel like Gypsy is losing control of the map here, and that's terrible against Zerg once they have Ultralisk and Defilers.
Yeah, and he was so close to breaching Sziky. If you look, the Nat's mined out, Main's mined out. Sziky's really only on like 1.5 mining bases because top left natural was not really mining effectively, but Gypsy taps out. So Gypsy with the killer upgrades, the 80 supply lead, not able to keep up the pace with Sziky. And once the Ultras and the Lings and the Defilers got on the map, you can see how quickly a supply lead for Terran can turn around.
I feel like the biggest mistake towards the end there was not focusing those gas drones at the natural. If you limit Zerg's gas there, they can't produce all the Ultralists and all the Scourge they want. So I feel like that was a bit of a missed opportunity there for Gypsy. Killed the mineral line, but again, it's not as important as focusing on those gas drones. And I mean, once Zerg gets out on the map, it becomes a lot more hectic for Terran. And again, you just see Marines moving out on the map and they encounter Ultralists and they all get mowed down. That's usually what happens when Zerg breaks through and gets a 430 fast.
Yeah, and you could see why I'm not the biggest fan of just 2 BCs. Like, they arrived and then they died. Well, one of them died. And then Zerg is really not scared of a single BC anymore. So if Gypsy's going to go into that BC play, I think 4 is a good number, 6 is good. And definitely got to get Yamato. Yamato is underused. You one-shot Defilers, even under Darkswarm. You one-shot Lurkers, even under Darkswarm. So all of a sudden, Darkswarm becomes not so scary if you have BCs in good positioning. So I'm sure Gypsy has that in the back of his mind. But early game was fine, mid game was fine, late game was even fine. It kind of just snowballed really fast for Sziky, unfortunately for Gypsy fans. But now we're going to have Sziky's pick. We had Good Night, obviously, that was Gypsy's pick. Now Aztec is coming up, and just like yesterday, it's crucial for the Terran to not get top middle, because you saw Mihu, he built depots up there, and I'm thinking there, like, what? How are you ever going to defend this mineral line? He didn't get punished, but I think Sziky has probably reviewed those games and thinking, wow, I had an open mineral line the entire game.
Right, and yeah, most modern maps, 3-player maps, like you can think of Sylphid or Ascension, the minerals are facing the edge of the map. You don't have them in the middle of your base where mutas have free, a lot of area to roam and harass. And that's one of the features why Aztec 12 o'clock is pretty brutal for Terran plays in this matchup. So we should see, I mean, there's a 1/3 chance, right? There's a 1/3 chance Gypsy gets a bad spawn.
Yeah, and we have to keep in mind that yesterday, of course, Sziky opened with some pool first builds. Didn't open pool first on Aztec, but obviously in the arsenal with the inverted ramp, it can be hard to deal with. So we may actually see it this time around. I think we could see like an overpool or a 12 pool. I'm a big fan of 12 pool going into gas on one hatch and then going for your nat, because Terran's not going to be able to scout you. And then it could be lurkers, it could be mutas, you're just completely in the dark. So I'm hoping we see that from Sziky, but it could be another 12 hatch.
And this isn't, I mean, Gypsy probably going to go into bioplay, but he could definitely mix in 1-1-1 on this map.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, is there any position where you can wall again? I'm thinking that
no, it's not
bottom right,
because maybe. No, because bottom right has the cliff obstructing your buildings at the natural, so you can't get a full wall there either. And the other spawns have eggs randomly placed that you can't really wall completely there.
Yeah, even though there's not a complete wall, you know, maps like Eclipse have been in the map pool where they're not wallable either. There's just a tiny gap in all of the potential walls, so we could still see some type of semi-wall. But overall, I don't think either player really needs to change their build any much. I think Gypsy played fine last game, just unfortunately for him. just kind of bled too many units and not able to get the engagements he was looking for, especially the tanks. Like the tank push, just looking at it, I'm like, okay, well, how the lurker is going to actually pop these tanks, but a little too far to the cliff. And you can see why tank pushes have kind of phased out. They're so easy to get picked off by Mutas. And we do have the players ready, so let's get into game 2, find out if Sziky can go up 2-0. All right, in one of the better positions for the Terran player, it is Gypsy in the mid left.
On the bottom right, we have Sziky as a blue Zerg. Avoiding the 12 o'clock spawn for Gypsy already should feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, now we do know that 111 2-port Wraith is in the arsenal of Gypsy. We are speculating that potentially 8 racks could be coming in on good night. I still have hope that there could be an 8 racks, but I don't think this is going to be the map. I kind of expect to see the same play. Now I'm trying to think, do you think that this is a fast rush map? Like, I don't think it is, so I don't think we're going to see like a 2 racks bust.
I don't think so either. Is this going to go towards a natural? Looks like no, it's not going to be. It's going to be a depot. Yeah, he's already on 9 supply. So it's going to be a semi-wall here from Gypsy. I gotta say, the one difference on this map, if we're in a similar scenario to the last game, and Gypsy tries to do the move out to put pressure on Sziky, the rush distances on this map is actually a lot longer than Good Night. So Sziky will have more time to be in the main harassing, and he'll have more time to retreat with the Mutas. So I don't think that's as viable. And it looks like Sziky is going to go for a 12 hatch here.
Yep, going to be the same opener from him. And this is going to be that semi-wall that I was talking about that everybody knows about, having played Eclipse. Now behind this, I've got my eyes locked on that refinery timing for Gypsy. So far, we don't see a refinery coming down, so this is not going to be a tech opener. It's probably just going to be, I would guess, the exact same opener last game. Fast eBay, 3 or 4 racks, and probably going to be the same opener from Sziky, because we've seen that he really does like this 3 hatch in his main and then take a 4th hatch somewhere out in the map.
Economically, it's just very strong, and you still get the same spire timing as a 2 hatch. So very good opener from Sziky. Gypsy, again, you can see the wall is going to have a slight gap at the top, but that should be easily pluggable. And we have some drone harassment. Sziky, is he actually going to go into the main this game? Looks like no. He's focused on this SCV. It actually gets pretty low with a clutch prepare from Gypsy.
Oh, you gotta be careful with that SCV, man. Oh my gosh! That repair is up. And you know, actually today, somebody was asking in one of the chats, one of the stream chats that I was watching, what repairs faster, a barracks or repairing units? Well, that repair was pretty fast in that SCV. I thought it was going to die. And every drone matters when you're playing a low econ build like this from Sziky. So
whoa,
that's
3 hatch. Hurt.
Oh,
we're actually seeing 3 hatch. Yeah, no gas from Sziky, so 3 hatch opener. This is a little bit unorthodox, and Gypsy right away going to take his gas. So there's no risk at all for Gypsy going +1 against 3 hatch. I mean, this is what we used to see when Zergs often went just 3 hatch openers straight up.
Yeah, and 100% Gypsy's thinking, thank you for this, because this is going to be exactly in his wheelhouse. Doesn't have to worry about building a lot of turrets, doesn't have to think about rushing Academy, hurting his econ. He's going to be able to go into that 5 racks opener, and you got to be very confident to play a 3 hatch these days because of how strong Terran players 5 racks is. So we haven't seen Sziky, I don't think, pull this out the entire BSL, and I don't know how well this is going to work, because if we think about how many mutas he tends to build from what he's shown, it's not a lot, and you're going to need a lot to deal with 5 racks.
Well, you can see Gypsy cut a lot of Marines, get his eBay and his Academy up, while non-stop producing SCVs, really prioritizing the economy, not the getting a ton of units out, which is perfectly fine. You can see the Lings getting across the map now, but Gypsy should have 3 or 4 Marines here, more than enough to deal with this, especially with the wall.
Yep, 3 Lings, I guess 4 Lings in total for Sziky, just 1 holding back at that natural. And We are just waiting for the barracks flood that is inevitably going to come. Now, Gypsy's starting to build them quite quickly. Like, generally, you see them getting put down around 35, 37 supply. So this is going to be an even faster, at least 4 racks. We still don't know if it's going to be 5 racks just yet, but I'm assuming it is going to be since he scouted the 3 hatch. Now, I didn't see any shenanigans from Sziky. I didn't see like a hydrogen anywhere. Yeah, it's not there. It's not at the natural, so it is just going to be the typical Spire opener.
Yep, just Spire, and there's the 3rd racks from Gypsy. Gotta say, I mean, this is very comfortable opener for Gypsy. You have this wall, so you feel secure. You can cut as many Marines as you want to get the upgrades and barracks faster, and that's basically what he did. And we see Sziky gonna go and take a 4th hatch at a 3rd base, and there is the 4th and 5th barracks, so 5 racks plus 1 from Gypsy.
Yep, 5 racks as expected, and Ziky's going to take mid right. Now, I'm conflicted with this base because I think it's good from the point of view that Ziky's consistently taking another main, so it's kind of a mix-up here. However, because Zerg is so strong on 4 bases, how's he going to get his 4th gas? If he had taken the natural here, he has easy access to get top middle. But now taking that base, it's going to be awkward because he's going to have to put lurkers in position at his nat, main, 3rd base, and the 4th base to just try and secure it.
Yeah, there's no easy access to 4th here, 4th gas critically. He could take the mineral only, but that's not a... Zerg's not really looking for another mineral base at that stage of the game. And we have Sziky. He's going to be able to make 9 mutas right off the bat. And you can see Gypsy, I'm pretty sure he's going to make minimal turret amount with this Marine production that he has.
Yeah, now the Marine count is going to start ramping up really quickly. It's already at about maybe 12. Gypsy's building his turrets at pretty much the last possible time. And we've got a pause coming in. So we are just going to take a break for now. I guess maybe something happened with Gypsy's mouse or something's going on in his room. But I'm sure he'll get it sorted out in a moment. Now, have you ever seen Sziky play 3-hatch before? Like, there's a lot of different styles. There are Battle Zerg, where they build a lot of lings and build a lot of mutas. And there are other people that just play normally good lurkers. Do you think he's going to try and engage Gypsy in, like, the center of the map, for example?
That would be extremely risky, but it looks like, no, he's just going to tech into lurkers. He should still build up a lot of mutalisks, but it looks like he's going to transition quickly into lurkers. And he's already taking that 3rd gas right away. Gypsy has a nice control group of Marines here. Is he gonna move out, or is he gonna wait for a 2nd group? Looks like he's scanning. He's looking for further tech.
Yeah, he's debating.
There's a +1 already done.
Yeah, 7-minute +1 is pretty typical for the 5 racks opener, and he does get down the ramp. That's what I was most worried about. Is Sziky going to allow him down that ramp? And now he has gotten down, and it's gonna get scary. Gypsy still hasn't scanned, I think, the third base. He doesn't know that it's mid right. He's gonna go for, I guess. Oh, he did scan it. Why did he scan there? I don't remember seeing a scan at top middle, but he sniffs out that the 3rd base is at mid right.
Yeah, and Gypsy, unfortunately, supply blocked here. The last thing you want to be when you're doing a timing like this. You see, he's been at 68 for a while now. It's 4 sunkens here. The Marines do have +1, so just so 4 sunkens is not enough. Sziky has to be on top. Unfortunately, he's not. Okay, there. Finally, he's catching the trailer units as they go up the ramp. He's got to be careful. You really don't want to let the Marines engage alone. He's buying himself time to get his 3rd and 4th sunkens up. And here's a reinforcement from Gypsy.
Yeah, but
the ramp here is a scary end. Oh, looks like we have 8 Marines getting cut off here. Gypsy trying to save. He manages to save just 1, and I think Sziky's done a good job here.
Yeah, he's done a really.
You can see Gypsy's minerals, how much he banked up there. He really missed a couple depots.
Yeah, it's really killing his pressure onto the map, and 5 racks is all about pressure. He really hasn't gotten done the damage that he wanted. And now Sziky does have the 3 bases. He didn't have to build fast lurkers. He could just be content building those sunkens. And now he's going to be able to go into his hive, and everything's going to play out pretty well for him. Supplies are almost even. That's great for Zerg. Now, the Mutas, even though they've gotten Marine kills, have not hindered the SCV line, so that's a little bit worrisome because Zerg definitely needs to rack up some SCV kills. If Terran goes unfazed into the mid game, I mean, you're just going to have so many Marines, so many medics, and so many vessels just at your doorstep nonstop.
So Sziky actually made a few more Mutas. He only made the initial 9 and then made drones and sunkens. Now he's adding a few more, and I think he's looking to get some damage done to Gypsy. There are the first few lurkers, so eBay or Evolution Chamber is about to get upgrades. And here's Sziky finally getting some damage done to Gypsy. Only focusing the turrets now, getting a couple Marines here and there. But Gypsy is already working on those vessels.
And those Mutas are going to clean up almost all of these Marines. The turrets are already down. 5 racks can clean up the rest of the Mutas, but I think these Mutas have done their job. 1-1 kicked in, this single Marine trying to be a hero. You can see that, I guess. Oh, he was getting ransacked by Lings at the natural, didn't even see it, but it doesn't look like SCV kills ramped up that much. More Marines being pumped out, and they are going to push this back, but that alleviates a lot of pressure on the map, and of course, stalling Gypsy's build a little bit.
Yeah, so the Lings not able to do a lot, just bruise those turrets a little bit. Sziky did actually lose the majority of his Mutalists. He's actually adding more now, and I like this because until the vessels are up, the Mutas still find some value. He can't directly engage the Marines anymore because they already have 1-1, which is a huge power spike for Marines against Mutaling. And it looks like Sziky's trying to sneak out a 4th here with this drone, and Gypsy has a Marine perfectly positioned there.
Yeah, that Marine should take down the drone, but maybe, oh my gosh. Oh, I thought that was Gypsy's screen moving up there. I was like, dude, he instantly reacted to it. But it's Sziky reacting to the single Marine. Yeah, but now Gypsy is aware that, hey, this guy's trying to get a 4th base off of no defense. Like, there weren't even lurkers trailing that drone. But the first couple vessels are out. There's no tank push this time around. But to see 2 vessels come out at 11 minutes, well, actually, that's a good time. That's fine. He's still gonna have bust potential onto this natural since there's only 3 lurkers.
Muta counterattack here to deny Gypsy's 3rd. It hurts a little bit because Gypsy has a lot of SCVs. He hasn't been hindered at all economically. It looks like Sziky actually changed the pathing of this drone, trying to sneak the 4th base, not take top left after Gypsy saw the drone there. And a couple lurkers getting radiated here. There's only 1.
I think he's gonna go. I mean, what are you waiting for? You know, all the Mutas are across the map, and that's exactly what he's going to do. There's only 2 lurkers behind these sunkens, but with them reinforcing, he's going to back off for now, and Sziky is going to just barely keep that push at bay.
Yeah, and so even more Mutalists here for Sziky, actually. He's down to 5. He's back up to 9. Vessels are out. So the Mutalist shouldn't be that effective for that much longer. But he's being annoying. He's denying the 3rd base, and he actually Gypsy took a 3rd at the gas base there, but Sziky is gonna scout this.
And that 4th hatch or 4th base got up at top middle. The Mutas get intercepted by the Marines, but they still end up taking out the SCV. This is so annoying to deal with. That might be another canceled command center potentially. Like, the bounce shots from the Mutalists are even killing a Marine there because there's only a single medic. Finally, the vessels are going to try and save the day here. But these 2 Marines, oh, it's painful that they did not find that drone.
Yeah, and the distraction here from Sziky. He's even pre-splitting the Mutalists to take minimal damage from the vessels. He's got to be careful not to engage the Marines, but he's been very annoying with the Mutalists, and it really allowed him to take that 4th base.
Yeah, if Gypsy ends up losing this game, when he watches a replay, he's going to be kicking himself that top middle got taken for free. I can see now he is going to scout with those Marines. Does he have vision of it? It looks like he does. And that means he's going to be scrambling to get up there with his Marine ball, which has been sitting in the middle of the map for a long time. Now, I don't know if those are Lings going to top middle or if those are lurkers. If those are Lings, I think Gypsy can still bust that. But at the same time, you can see those sneaky Ling lurker move out going through the left side. But Gypsy, he's on top of it. He's going to intercept it.
Yeah, so Gypsy, once he saw Sziky scouted him, he knew Sziky couldn't defend. So his counterattack was the only option. Gypsy scanned immediately exactly where the units were moving out, and he shut that down too.
Yep, now top middle is going to get denied, but you can see Gypsy committed almost his entire army to that position. And of course, Sziky's aware of that. Look at lack of vision in the center of the map for Gypsy. He needs to figure out where these defilers are. It looks like there's not any Scourge left over, so he should be able to kill this defiler. It's also going to be very hard to get up this ramp, but he should be able to get one Dark Swarm down at least. Oh, mows down a Lurker before it can get under that Swarm.
Yeah, it's a lot of lengths, but the Marines are well upgraded. Here comes the second defiler, and Gypsy, he really needs to reposition these Marines to get out on the map, cut off reinforcements, buy himself some more time. He does have 4 bases, but the defiler is heading towards his net. Doesn't have enough energy for a swarm. It's like he has to consume a ling.
There's no fire bats this time around. Oh, the Marines find isolated lurkers. There's no Dark Swarm, but the scan was late. He ends up picking off both of them, but with defilers and lings still at the third base, he should be able to hold on here. Meanwhile, that push, did it get stalled out? No, he is continuing to push up here. There's only a single lurker, so fire bats would be amazing if he can get a few pumped out.
Yeah, another swarm. There's only one lurker. Gypsy, I mean, he should really just, he's moving forward ahead so he can cut off reinforcements. Doesn't have to really worry about the small amount of units that are at his natural. He can just buy time, wait for the swarm to stall out. And Sziky, during this time, he managed to take a 4th here. Gypsy instantly scouts it before it gets complete. He could actually head towards there. And, I mean, behind this, Gypsy's on 4 base, so he has a ton of economy here.
Yeah, I was about to say that Gypsy went from 2 bases to 4 real fast, and bottom left is pretty exposed. Now, that is a lot of Scourge. He cannot afford to lose all of these vessels. There's only like 5. Almost all of the Scourge are going to connect. How many is he going to take down? Oh, actually, not as many as I thought. Only manages to take down 2. Now, there's no Nidus here. You can see he's scrambling to get it up. Defilers are wide walking into position, but again, no fire bats is going to allow Sziky, I think, to just barely get this base up and running.
So just with a couple of fire bats, Gypsy would have been able to deal with the attack that is not much better. And, well, it's still not terrible because he does have these 4 bases, and the 4th gas from Sziky has been delayed long enough, I think. You're talking about a 17 gas at this 4th compared to last game where Sziky just took that right away.
Yeah, and it's okay. He has faster ultras than I was anticipating. Only +1 armor. Looks like +2 just kicked in for Gypsy and instantly goes into +3. So really on top of his upgrades. But unlike last game, supplies are a little bit more in favor of Gypsy. And also this 4th base very close to Gypsy's main. So whether he goes BCs or dropships, this is going to be a very hard base to defend. There's no lurkers anymore. A single defiler doesn't have energy. Okay, it does. But the non-stop irradiates, I think Gypsy should be able to get through eventually.
Yeah, unlike last game where Gypsy only had 3 max 5 vessels, he has been producing a lot more. I think it's due to these 3 starports. He loses a few more here, but again, with the 3 starports, he's able to pump a lot more vessels this time around. And here we have a standoff here at the 12 o'clock between a Marine and a drone.
Yeah. Now, that's something I was not anticipating, is that is a flying science facility in the center of that. That means there is going to be no battle cruisers. We're just going to go into SK Terran, pure vessels, unless we're going to see like Factory Flood at his 3rd base. Okay, he's doing a good job with the vessels until that happened. That was a huge plague. Now, are there any mutas left over? Because if there's even just 1, there are 5 vessels for the picking.
Yeah, we have double spore here. This is going to be very, very good at warding off the vessels. But again, Gypsy's putting on so much pressure that Sziky hasn't had the time to drone up that new base, send drones there via Nidus. It's not really mining gas either. You can see the economic differences here. Gypsy flowing a huge mineral bank, and Sziky barely able to afford Ultralisk.
Yeah, Gypsy does need to start considering getting another base because unlike Good Night, all these that base at top left, that's mineral only. He really needs gas if he's going to support just going vessels. Okay, those vessels are still plagued and they're at 1 health. Oh no, there it is. There's the shark, cue the Jaws theme. There's 1 down. How many more can he get? He gets 2. He gets 3 out of the 5 that were played. That was a great pickoff from Sziky there.
Yeah, there's a lot of Ultralisk at the top. I think that's a counterattack from Sziky. I don't know if Gypsy has a ton of defense at the middle only or the fourth base, but he's putting out a lot of pressure here at the front. There's only one, like a couple lings here. There's the counterattack I'm talking about, and this could be disastrous for Gypsy.
Yeah, the single Defiler with Dark Form saves the day because there's no fire bats in the army. So this counterattack is going to wreak havoc, and this is the gas base. He needs this gas to support that vessel production. Marines are going to move over into position, but it's even upgrades right now. It's +2 versus +4. Ultras are going to trade fine. Now, did Gypsy find a hole at bottom left? The Nidus is there, so I'm going to say no, but there are no lurkers. Maybe he can actually bust up.
It's going to be a little bit awkward. He has to be on top of his Marines. And he has to be 2 locations at once because he's also attacking top left. The Defiler pops out just in time, and that's a huge plague. So this attack is going to get shut down.
Yeah, and it's starting to get wild because Gypsy, even though he's got a bait, he's only mining on that mineral only. He's still having to deal with this single Ultra at top right. And Zerg has been on 4 base for quite a while. They've got their upgrades going. The vessel count, it's at 5, which is manageable for Zerg, especially with a couple of them plagued. Okay, actually that's 7. Maybe it's not as manageable as I thought. And oh my gosh, triple star production. I mean, vessels are great, but they're so hard to control. But for now, he's doing a really good job with it. Another Ling Ultra attack, but without Defilers, I don't think Ziky's going to have as much success with this one.
Yeah, Gypsy has 3-2 now, so Marines will do a little bit better against the Ultralisk. And you see just a lot of Marines here. And the thing is, Sziky is buying himself time. Like, he's out on the map. He's slowly, I think his main and natural is slowly running out of gas. So he really needs to take another base pretty soon. He's effectively doing a lot of damage with these counterattacks, but now Gypsy has stabilized a little bit here. And again, we're looking at something like 10 vessels now with the 3-star per production. If you can just use the irradiates, it's going to be very tough for Sziky to afford a lot of Ultralisk.
Yeah, and I think Gypsy just scanned top middle because his army's instantly going up there. And this is what I was talking about in the early stages of the game. It's just going to be so hard for you to get the top side of the map unless you had taken it as your 3rd base. Now, the Lings have done a good job to actually whittle down about half of that army, but still, half of it got through the top side, I think. Oh man, is that going to be a vessel suicide into the bottom side of the map? There goes 1 Defiler, 2 Defilers. The Ultras end up going through the Nidus to save the day, but it's starting to get crazy. Ziky's down to like 80 supply. Meanwhile, Gypsy's still almost maxed.
You just see Gypsy on top of his barracks constantly, and his control. He has a control group of vessels now, and unless Sziky can take that 5th gas, like, he's slowly gonna dry out. You can see he has no gas bank. The Ultralisk +5 just finished, so they will do a much better job at actually fighting the Marines head on.
Yeah, and you can see Gypsy realizes this is the most crucial base in the game, top middle. He sends his entire army to make sure that this base does not get up. He does not want to see a Nidus there. The Ultras, even though they know they cannot possibly win this fight, trying to buy as much time as possible, trying to stream a bunch of units from the bottom side of the map to the top side also. He knows if he can get the Nidus up, he'll be able to get Lurkers and Defilers through, but there's no Nidus! It just now started, it's halfway done! And I think Gypsy should be able to knock this down.
Oh man, and Sziky is out on the map. He's gonna try to do something to counter, because if he can take out Gypsy's 4th, even if he loses top, I think he has a shot in this game. Gypsy actually mixing in a couple of drops that get sniped instantly. It's 4 Ultralists, not a lot of links to support, but the vessels come back just in time. D-Matrix there on the front Marine, that's huge.
Yeah, and the lack of Defiler is really hurting Sziky right here, but more Ultras coming in the back. It might not matter if he can just get on top of the production, but remember, Gypsy has like 10 barracks. He'll be able to pump out a ton of units. He's got a huge bank, and if we look at Ziky's bank, he's lost a ton of Ultras. Like, I don't know if he can support building Ultras like this anymore. Probably the 3rd gas is mined out at this point, which means he's pretty much on only 1.5 gas mining.
Yeah, I think Sziky should look to take the mineral only and then try to take a gas base, like multiple gas bases at once, so Gypsy can't kill them all. You see he's putting on a lot of pressure. This is exposed vessels. I mean, but that's just so many vessels. He still has like 8 remaining. Losing the mineral only here, not a huge loss, but he really has to be concerned about defending this 4th base. It's his last mining base for Gypsy here.
Is that another hatchery at top middle? I see a tiny bit of vision up there. Okay, a drone got rebuilt. So he's going to rebuild that pretty soon. Gypsy, you can see supplies are getting closer and closer. It's 130 to 94. Remember, it was like 180 to 90 a minute ago, and he doesn't know that a drone has already gotten a hatchery down at top middle. So even though these vessels have pretty much gone uncountered, and the Ultras have been taken down left and right by the Irradiates, if he can get this base up and running, Gypsy's gonna be running out of steam. He just now built a 5th command center himself.
I think Gypsy should be trying. I mean, he made the dropships. I think one drop at the 4th base from Sziky. There's no anti-ground defense. It's mostly spores there. Vessels moving forward, irradiating defilers. It's got to be careful. The vessel count is no longer at a ridiculous number. It's down to 6, and he's mixing in dropships. So he really needs to build that back up. That's really what's allowing him to fight the Ultralists. He gets those irradiates on them first.
Now, I saw a drop ship being built a couple minutes ago. I don't know where. There it is. Okay, he must have scanned top middle again, and he's going to just use drop ships to actually shut down this base. Now, Sziky, he's realized, okay, maybe I can't get top middle, but I can take my low ground 5th base. A hatchery's going down there. And is that a hatchery being placed below 12 o'clock? I think it is. That's kind of a sneaky base, but Gypsy on top of this 5th hatch at bottom right. Now he's doubling in supply, 155 to 80. It looks like Sziky's just running out of gas. Literally, he has almost no gas. He can't even build an Ultra.
Yeah, he mixed in a lot of scourge to deal with the vessel fleet, and he did manage it to whittle down from 12 to something like 5, but that really cut into his Ultralist production, and not being able to take that 5th base, the 5th gas, really hurt him there. And Gypsy, he's still only mining on this one base, so he really needs to keep Sziky from taking another one.
There's the Jaws Mutalisk. They take down 2 vessels, and Gypsy's almost mined out. His main nat and 3rd base are completely dry. Drop coming into this base, but this one's dry too. This was a bit of a misstep, I think, unless he can get, I guess, the gas. Okay, he unloads a couple Marines there, not able to actually take that down. But this 5th base is still up and running, and that top middle hatchery somehow is still alive. Gypsy desperately needs another base. He's running out of money. That 3K bank he had is all of a sudden only at 600.
Yeah, and this is where it's difficult for Terran to actually take another one. They need to take that middle base. All the other bases are too far away to defend. Taking another main on Aztec, it's not like other maps, it's just a 3-player map. So he is going to take that low ground. He's going to break through here. There's not any defilers left over, so he's at least going to deny this space from Sziky. Sziky still has the hidden base at the top. I think Gypsy has done it. He's actually...
Well, that's not something you see every day. Well, he's caught... Yeah, you can see instantly he stems to the top side of the map. He's got so many firebats in this army that lurkers, lings, will not be able to stop this. He needs ultras, actually, to stop this. And it's just too much. The Nidus, once gets popped, I think that's going to be lights out for Sziky. He's running out of steam. Gypsy securing another base at the bottom side of his ramp on the left side, and now double expanding really with this command center up there. There it is. GG. What a game. Huge macro slugfest, but in the end, Gypsy reigns supreme, and he's going to tie up the score 1-1.
That was actually a lot closer than it looked at the end there. I think Gypsy really did a good job, not only utilizing his vessels, because you can have a lot of vessels, but they're completely useless if they're all banking 200 energy. So having them active and using them is really what allowed Gypsy to be efficient with his units and eventually force Sziky into an awkward position. And just being on top of the denial of the 5th base won him the game there.
Yeah, that was the key thing for Gypsy, really, is constantly denying the 5th base. If a Nidus gets up at any point, I think Sziky wins that game 100%, because the bottom left base was locked down. The other 3 bases were locked down. It all came down to that 5th base. So for Gypsy to consistently scan there, consistently deny it, won him the game. And that means he's going to tie the score up 1-1. It's going to be his pick now. And this is crucial, because once you're down 2-1, whoever it is, you feel like you're on the back foot, because you know this is potentially your last game. So it's crucial here that both players get a victory. So let's see what the big Gyp has ended up picking. He has gone with Wavelet, because the only 2 remaining maps are HBR, and we know that's not getting picked, and Revolver. But to see him pick Wavelet over Revolver, where he at least can practice on the ladder, I mean, that's a little surprising, but I guess he's feeling like Wavelet is a really good Terran map for him to pick it.
Yeah, and well, Heartbreak Ridge, just throw that out the window. I don't think Gypsy's ever gonna pick that map.
No.
And Vertebrae is another one where not gonna get a ton of practice there. So Wavelet is at least a standard looking map, and you do have gas bases everywhere. So I know Gypsy for a fact has mentioned before that he actually likes Wavelet. More than Revolver is a little bit surprising, but we'll see. Are we actually gonna take a break here, or do we just continue?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay, so it looks like we're gonna take a break after the third game and see who ends up ahead 2-1. And a nice tip there from Caster Muse. Thank you very much. Of course, we did reach the goal for BSL13. And a big thanks to CRVT, Dragon, and the other donors from yesterday.
Yeah, they were massive donations. So thank you so much, guys. But, you know, any additional tips will go towards, you know, the funding for BSL15. So definitely don't just see the, oh, we reached the goal. I mean, the goal is there's going to be another one in the future. You know, I don't know when BSL14 is going to start. But I would guess probably like in the spring. So definitely consider donating or becoming Patreon supporter or hitting that sub button or subscribing on YouTube, however you want to support the BSL. But yeah, Wavelet, I was telling Gypsy the same thing. Like this map, even though I've never played it, I mean, it looks like Circuit Breakers. And if I can get any map that looks like Circuit Breakers, I'm going to pick that map. Like that map was so good for Terran, just so good. And the fact that the third base has a gas also and a tiny ramp where people can't backstab you easily, sign me up, man. So we're going to get into game 3. Series is tied 1-1. Who's going to take the lead in the series? Is it going to be Gypsy? Is it going to be Sziky? Okay, in the top right, our blue Zerg. It is going to be Sziky.
And in the bottom left, we have Gypsy.
Well, yesterday, this was the game where Sziky went for the 9 pull. So, we may see it again. I mean, Ziky's done... Well, actually, I was going to say he's done pretty much what he did yesterday, which was go for the 3 hatch in his main, take a 4th hatch. But we did just see the 3 hatch before gas, which I was not expecting in the current meta. What do you think we're going to see from Sziky here? Just the typical opener?
I mean, this could definitely be a good map for a 9 pull. And it looks like, nope, just an Overlord right away. And Gypsy not going for 9 racks either. So it should just lead into a macro game here. I think both players have felt comfortable with where they are in the mid game. So no reason to change what they're doing.
Yep, now unlike the other maps, I'm pretty sure you can't wall this. I think even semi-wall, there's too big of a gap. So this time around, if there's going to be a 2 racks opener, I think this is the map we're going to see the 2 racks opener from Gypsy. Meanwhile, Overlord has completed, so this is not going to be an early pool, whether it's a 12 pool or an overpool. We are just going to have the typical hatch opener. And unfortunately for Sziky, of course, not going to get a first scout off for against Gypsy here.
And he's going to want to get the Overlord into the natural Gypsy. But when you're cross map, it's actually pretty difficult for the Zerg to accomplish that. And that could be a little bit nerve-wracking. We did see a few games where Sziky not getting the first scout really hurt him, not being able to spot unit movement from the natural. It looks like we are going to see 2 hats this time from Sziky, not like the asset game.
Well, let me get your prediction on this because I'm sure we're about to see it in the next 20 or so seconds. SCV versus drone. Who's winning this fight?
I'm going to go with the SCV here. We did
really?
see... Yeah, I gotta go with the SCV. It's beefier. You can repair them. The drone does have the range advantage, but if you're on top of the SCV, you can actually chase the drone and not let it kite you. And we have seen Gypsy being very effective with the SCVs.
Well, I thought we were gonna have an engagement in the center of the map, but looks like the drone has learned his lesson. Oh no, he didn't. He got smacked one time. Right in his mouth right there. He's down to 35 health. And you can see he doesn't even mess around this time. He turns around instantly. He's decided like, oh, I lost it last time. Well,
Gypsy went for a double scout here.
Yeah, I think he's thinking like, okay, well, are you going to 9-pool again? You did do it on Wavelet yesterday, so I don't want to risk giving you a free win. So going for the double scout, it's pretty smart. It's pretty typical when you don't scout Zerg first. So smart move there from Gypsy. And again, this is not a 2 Rax Academy gas timing. This looks like it's going to be another eBay opener.
And so seeing the 2 hatch and Gypsy going into the build he's done with the fast eBay every game, and we see Sziky, he's always doing the same opener, right, against Gypsy, and there's eBay. So looking like a repeat of game 1. Shouldn't be the 5 racks plus 1. Really don't see that against 2 hatch. Could still be 4 racks or maybe an academy play really quickly as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking that this could be another 3 or 4 racks opener. Okay, that Marine wanted to give up his life, but decides that it's better to just stick by that depot. And I'm trying to see when that second Rax is coming down for Gypsy. I don't see it being built. I think Academy has definitely started. Yeah, there it is. Okay, 4-minute Academy. So range is going to be a little bit slower than I know Gypsy likes, but it's still fine.
Okay, so this is not 2.5 hatch Muta. This is just 2 hatch Muta straight up, and you can see the difference here. There's a lot more links here being made for Sziky, and the Spire is going to be a little bit faster. Gypsy has to be careful. There's no bunker here at the front. The Marine count is very low with the 1 Rax production.
Yeah, he's really trying to just power up his upgrades. Oh no! 8 Lings are going to ruin Gypsy's day, and those Marines are going to scramble to get into position. You can see that was a great SCV pull, but already losing a couple Marines. And when you're only on 1 barracks, every Marine really hurts, and this may even trigger a bunker, and it does. And as a Terran, you do not want to build a bunker versus a 2-hatch opener if you don't have to, because that's going to prevent the 3rd Rax, the 4th Rax from coming in at a decent time.
Yeah, and this is looking already pretty grim for Gypsy. He lost 4 Marines there, manages to not lose the game outright, because a lot of Terrans there just don't pull the Marines back right away and don't have the SCV pull to block the ramp, but still in a tough bind here. Like, you see how little production he has. He only has 2 barracks, 1 not even complete, and the Spire is already done.
Yep, Spire's already done. Complete lack of Marines. There's like 6 right now, and 4 of them are in the bunker. I love how now that he's done a lot of damage, no reason to build a hatchery in your main. Just instantly take another base, and that is going to be the 4 racks production. But he's not going to have fast range like you see in a lot of 2-hatch build, or playing against a lot of 2-hatch builds. So Gypsy, really, unless he gets these turrets up in the next couple seconds, may get overrun. He's even cutting Marines when Mutas are about to be on his doorstep.
Yeah, this is not what you want to see. I think the bunker maybe has 1, maybe 2 Marines in it. He really needs to defend the barracks. If you lose the access to your production here, the game's pretty much over.
Turret barely gets up in time, and I really do mean barely, because 4 Marines without range, I don't know if they could have even killed those 4 Mutas. I mean, they don't have the ability to one-shot the Marines, so maybe he could have held on there, but just barely on the skin by the skin of his teeth. Gypsy is going to hold on for now. Look how many SCVs he has. He's really nailed his econ, but lack of units is going to make it so hard to defend this natural in main.
And Sziky ignores the turret fire, sneaks right in, already getting 4, 5 SCVs maybe, and that unit taking a ton of fire, but again, just turret fire is not really enough. And you can see Gypsy's down to 10 SCVs at his natural. He was looking at something like 16 before that Mutalisk harassment, so a lot of damage already done for Sziky there.
Bottom right is up and running now for Sziky, and that bunker was not the ideal placement, prevents units from getting out into the center of the map. Quite annoying. Again, Sziky getting into that sweet spot. I think he knocks down like 4 SCVs there. He had the magic number, which is 7, to one-shot the SCVs, and now this good econ from Gypsy slowly getting down in the dumps. Supplies are almost in favor of Sziky at this point, and just now a 730 factory coming up for Gypsy.
Yeah, and the Mutalisk count is growing. It's not that high. He's already has the Hydra Den, so looking to defend that 3rd with Lurkers and not just a lot of Mutalisks. And I wonder if Ziggy's actually going to invest this time into Mutalisk upgrades, because we didn't see on ASIC that he got any. but he has been going for that +1 weapons a lot.
Yeah, a lot of Zerg players are going, oh no, 2 SCVs, did they just get move commanded? I don't know why they're trying to move out to the right side of the map, but I mean, he needs as many SCVs as he can possibly get. Okay, I guess he's going for a double scout. Maybe he misscanned bottom right, but I think bottom right is completely secured. The Hydra's, oh wow, he already has lurkers done. To give you perspective, like, there was an 850 lurker morphing last time we saw Sziky play the lurker follow-up, so to have them already done is surprising, to say the least, but this base 100% secure now.
Yeah, and he has 3 lurkers there, I think. Gypsy, well, Zergs often do the stacking, okay, just 2, but Gypsy shouldn't expect just to be 1 lurker. And the Mutalist here to support as well. This should be an unbreakable base with bio.
Yep, it's just not enough bio. There's no like armor upgrade to soak up one of the lurker shots. So Sziky is in an amazing position. This is by far the best position he's been in all of the Zerg versus Terran matchups we've seen in the past 2 days. Gypsy scaling into his starports now. The Muta's still at 9. He does have that +1 weapon that you were asking about, so he still has a lot of damage potential, especially if he can get into the sweet spot behind his mineral line.
Goes in, snipes on another couple SCVs, and you can see the supplies are surprisingly close for this stage of the game. Gypsy barely ahead.
Yep, he's recovered his SCV count quite nicely, though. You can see it's pretty well saturated at the natural. But again, Muta's out of position, and you know, if he didn't see that there were 3 lurkers there, that would have been instantly pounced on. So nicely done from Sziky to have enough lurkers to keep the Terran at bay. Evolution Chamber seems faster than all the other games we've seen previously too, so that means Ultras, once they start coming out, they're gonna have their +4, +5 power spike a little bit quicker. And right now, it's kind of in this middle stages where both players can't really damage each other. They're just waiting for their high-tech units.
Yeah, this could definitely be a case where we see Zerg go Ultraless just off 3 gas. Sziky hasn't needed to make something like a ridiculous number of ultra lurkers in the other games. He's only made 6. So with the fast carapace, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually went into that.
Mutas are just being so annoying. They killed 2 SCVs, denied a depot, and it forces all the Marines back. And this, of course, is just amazing because the Mutas, at this point in the game, they're just dead supply unless they find plague vessels. So, oh my gosh, and you called it. There is the Ultraless Cavern, a 1040 Ultra Cavern. You almost never see that unless it's crazy Zerg from the get-go, which this was not. So this just shows you how confident Sziky is in his position. You can't go Ultras unless you have good econ, good drone saturation. And these Mutas are still dealing so much damage.
Yeah, first 2 vessels are out for Gypsy around 11 minutes. And even getting more SCVs here from Sziky. This is so much economic damage. And you can see Sziky is actually ahead on supply here. And I hope Gypsy's on top of his upgrades. I know he has 1-1. I don't see a second eBay though. And I hope that first one is blinking because he really needs to get that +2 weapons. Needs to stay ahead on upgrades.
Yeah, you can't win versus Ultras if you're behind in upgrades. I mean, it's just impossible. So it is crucial that +2 is coming in. We can see that it's blinking. I don't know how far along it is though, but the first 2 vessels out will shut down this non-stop Muta harassment finally. For now, that Marine Ball has done a good job to at least keep the 4th base at bay. But Sziky, he's going into the Ultras, obviously. He's got like 1,000 gas banked up. So 5 Ultras, 6 Ultras gonna be out on the map pretty soon. Oh, finds the vessels, both of them die.
So I think those are the first 2 vessels, so they had the most energy, and he loses a couple Mutalists to them, for them, but you saw how he stacked the Scourge, so Gypsy wasn't aware that there were any near those Mutalists and loses them all. We have the first Defilers being added, and the gas bank for Sziky is still high, so at any moment, these are going to be +4 Ultralists, and even without the 4th gas, Sziky has the economy to support this.
Yeah, no. Okay, he finds the 4th base at top middle, and you can see that he wants to go shut it down, but I don't even know if he can shut it down. And it draws units out of position at bottom right to deny the low ground 4th base. Defiler's out also, so he's got all the tech available. This SCV, I think, went unscouted to top left, so I'm sure that's going to be a command center being plopped down pretty soon. I saw Gypsy put a command center down in his main too, and he blocked off his science facility, so that cannot build a BC add-on. So I don't, oh, maybe, okay, I was going to say maybe we're not going to see BCs, but the fact that an armory's coming in makes me think, oh yeah, he's killing off his depot now because he wants to switch into BC.
And there's +2, so he's still ahead on upgrades. +2 for Sziky. Shouldn't finish in the next, I think maybe in the next 90 seconds to 2 minutes, he'll have it. He's going to deny this hatchery. Not even going to be a cancel, just killing it outright. There's not a lot of defense here, but with deny this, it's going to be tough for Gypsy to get any real damage done. He manages to take a 4th at the top. Gypsy can't really pressure both bases at once. So this is a smart play by Gypsy. Is this a plague? That's a huge plague there. Gets 2 vessels and like 6 Marines.
Yeah, and remember that I think there's maybe 1 or 2 Mutas left over, so he still has potential to pop any of these plague vessels. But now that the Marines have backed off a little bit, he may be able to reposition those lurkers into the bottom natural and take his 4th, well actually 5th base at this point. Marines are stimming. I guess they found an open area right now, but Defiler comes in to save the day. He knocks out the lurker just in the nick of time though, but Sziky's still in a great position. 135 to 115 supply, still really good for Zerg. And yeah, Sziky does use that time to reposition those lurkers and take that natural.
Yeah, and you see the gas bank is still there for Sziky. He hasn't needed to make a ton of lurkers, and when Zerg can do this, they can focus more on Defilers, Scourge, and Ultralists. Lurkers don't really scale that well once into the super late game, and you can see minimal amount of lurkers, a large gas bank, a 4th and 5th base on the way. Even though Gypsy has his own 3rd, he's gonna go into BCs, actually getting Yamato. I don't think this is a great position for Gypsy. He really needs to shut down these bases before they can get up.
Well, he still has like 4 vessels, but yeah, he doesn't have that overwhelming 12 vessel count like he did the other day, or other game, I mean. Defiler gets irradiated, but trades a vessel for the Defiler and the Lurker, so this was still an okay
It's going to be
trade.
a huge plague. This is going to be a huge plague.
Yeah, it could be massive. Oh! Ah! My heart just sunk looking at that, man. That was like the biggest Heinz ketchup right there I've ever seen. And now, at the same time, Ultras and Lings moving out onto the map. And look, +2's already done. It's going to match the +2 weapon upgrade of Gypsy. He's going to have to run everything he has out on the map away because all of his units are so badly injured.
Gypsy has like 30 dead supply in Marines and medics right now. Can't really engage until that ketchup is gone. He's full retreating now, but this allows Sziky to get his 4th and 5th gas, and with Sziky out on the map, like he even managed to spot this SCV that was randomly at top left.
Oh my gosh. Well, we're going into the first person view of Gypsy. He wants to bust bottom right. He wants to get rid of that top base. I think he feels happy that the gas at least wasn't taken up there, but now he sees it being taken, and that's a lot of Ultras. Sziky's almost max, actually. How did these get over there? 2 Ultras and 2 Lings into the 3rd base, and Gypsy does not have a 4th command center, so if this gets shut down, that's a lot of lost econ for him.
I think Gypsy +3 is about to finish if it's not already done. It's just +2 armor just finished, so he will have +3 soon. Sziky just started +3 himself, so this gives Gypsy a small window where he's actually ahead on upgrades, and he really needs to keep his vessels alive, because if he's switching into battle cruisers, he's not going to have the vessel production.
Just a single Defiler, but a single... Oh, I thought that Scourge connected, but it didn't, and it... Oh, he's... Oh my gosh, great focus fire there to prevent that Scourge from connecting. Because, of course, every vessel important in general, but when you're BC switching and you're not really rebuilding them for a long time, it definitely makes a big deal. So to save that single vessel is huge, but more Ultras, more Lings moving across the map. I'd like to see Sziky send out more than 1 Defiler, because if he can get down double Darkstorm and then turn into quadruple Darkstorm, he can blanket the entire 3rd base, and there's nothing that can hit under Darkstorm right now. Not even a single firebed has been built.
You see the first battle cruisers being added, and he manages to kill off all the Scourge, but there's this Darkstorm at the 3rd. Can he get another one in the mineral line?
He's got to focus on Defiler, man. Okay, he did knock it down, and the Ultras will have to retreat for now. But still, this is a fine position. Zerg still at 5 base, 5 gas, and Terran just now only taking their 4th base.
Yeah, we had the battle cruisers. They do have +1, so even if these Scourge have upgrades in Carapace, they will get one-shotted. And I mean, Gypsy manages to keep these 5 vessels alive. This is the key here, but that's so many Ultralisks here.
Yeah, and these BCs, what was it, only 2? I think they're going to bleed off again, just like we saw in the other game. But this is a great engagement for Gypsy. +3 is done, +5 not done. No Dark Form. The Defiler was way behind that army, and that was the trade that Gypsy needed so that he can get this 4th base up and running.
Yeah, that's a decent plague there, but that was 4 or 5 Ultralisks going down before they had the +5. So perfect attack there for Gypsy. Perfect defense, I mean, because he really needs to be efficient when Zerg is on this many bases. A couple more battle cruisers being added. Does he have the 3 starports this time? I don't think so, because he's been on such low economy. And yeah, just the 2. Oh, actually, he does have a 3rd.
He has 3, but he doesn't have the overwhelming BC count. And because these BCs just popped out, doesn't have Yamato either. But luckily for him, again, another non-Defiler attack. Those 2 BCs that were over on the right side of the map, I think, already got picked off. Not sure exactly, but because those have a lack of kills, I'm gonna say that the first 2 BCs have already been eliminated. But Gypsy still almost max. He now has his mid base going, or mid base, yeah, his mid base going. But Sziky, he's almost playing like a Protoss. He's got top left coming up.
Yeah, so not the best engagement for Sziky, but he is giving himself time to expand all over the map. And I mean, still +4 Ultralisks. The Marines are on the low ground, so they're not doing as good of a job at attacking. But again, with the Defiler support, I mean, that's what we've been seeing is a lack of Defiler, just really 1 or 2 supporting. But now we have 4 BCs, and this is a lot more threatening here. He's able to target the gas drones, killing them, and Sziky is distracted here with the attack in the middle of the map.
Yeah, but that plague was great, getting all 4 BCs, but they're still really hard to kill, and he's still gonna have to commit a lot of Scourge, especially since those BCs definitely have +1 weapon, because I remember him building that armory. But I have to point out that despite getting that fast evolution chamber, +5 still not done for Sziky. So these Marines, when they can get an engagement onto non-Dark Storm Ultras, they are hitting really, really hard. But those 5 battlecruisers are all at like 1-shot health right now. So we may see Gypsy supply. Did that spore complete actually? They're getting picked off left and right. 1 spore kills 4 battle cruisers. That's a huge loss for Terran.
Oh man, that was a big misstep. The spore just barely survived. I gotta say, when Sziky, we got his perspective, we did see him going for those double upgrades, and he was able to get weapons, but the carapace upgrade, he wasn't able to afford it, and I think he just forgot, because +2 weapons is already done, which means +3 carapace should have been done as well. I think that was just a slight misstep, and Sziky hasn't noticed yet.
I think Ziky's done it. I think those literally losing those 5 BCs is just going to change the tides, because now there's no pressure on the right side. Sziky can focus completely on these engagements, and he's got top left, which again has gone unscouted. Sziky still has 4 gas available, and now you don't have those powerful, untouchable battle cruisers in the air to help you DPS the Ultras. All he has to do is get multiple Defilers with this army. The vessel count is almost non-existent now, and he can easily breach mid-left.
The Lings are at the middle line. There's a lot of Ultras, but this is a lot of Marines, and there's +5 just finished for Sziky.
A crucial upgrade for him, but what's more crucial is Gypsy has not taken top left, and Sziky already has it. What? He's expanding the bottom right. Zerg's already there, dude. How are you planning on saving that? Instantly, it's getting killed.
Yeah, I think Gypsy, he's really, well, he's going to see this move out, but there's not anything to deal with the swarm there. A couple more BCs heading to the top right base.
Well, Sziky's supply is not that high, but again, there's no counter to Defiler, Ling, Dark Swarm right here. Okay, well, there's a counter if the Dark Swarm or if the Defiler runs into the bunker, But double Dark Swarm, this base is 100% shut down. Again, there's no fire bats, and it draws all the attention of Gypsy down here because he has to save this. This is one of his only 2 mining bases, and that means Sziky could go for another attack at mid left, but 2 BCs actually going to shut down this top middle base. Gypsy still unaware that top left has been taken.
Yeah, some firebacks finally being mixed in. Scourge pop, but again, if you have like 6 Scourge, maybe one of them will connect against 2 BCs. Sziky really having to spend a lot of gas on those Scourge, really cutting into Ultralisk production. A couple more BCs heading to bottom right. There's only 1 Spore there, no other anti-air other than the Scourge. So I think Gypsy is finding a way to utilize his BCs to distract Sziky.
Yeah, these battle cruisers, and the fact that the Marine Ball has not been whittled down because of all these attacks without defilers, Gypsy still got a fighting chance. Like, you can see the gas from Sziky is getting lower and lower, but now that he has the top left gas up and running, that should be a good influx for him. But he is almost broke consistently in his gas, but Gypsy, he needs to find a 5th base pretty soon.
Yeah, either that or kill top left, because I mean Sziky has no gas here, but all he needs to do is stabilize for just a minute, and soon he will be able to overrun Gypsy. But Gypsy doing a good job with these engagements. Again, another attack without defilers. The Ultras do have +5, but this is a lot of Marines here.
Yeah, and even just a single battle cruiser hit does a lot of damage because, you know, it's not like a Goliath or a Wraith where they fire twice. When it says it does 30 damage, it only gets negated 1 time by your armor upgrade. So it's a huge hit right there. But those 2 battle cruisers did kill bottom right. I think the 2 battle cruisers killed top right too. Finally, a scan goes off, so he's aware that top left has been taken. All of a sudden, both players have only 2 base mining. The BCs focus the colonies. They're so mad about that Spore from earlier, but take huge hits from the Scourge. Another Ling attack with Ultras. There's the Dark Swarm I was waiting for.
We still have the 5 vessels, so Gypsy has done a really good job at keeping these vessels alive as he switched into BCs. And you'd see, like, just hitting each Ultralisk with an Irradiate really hurts them. That's a lot of damage done by that 1 Ultralisk, but he's doing a good job. You see Sziky doesn't have a ton of gas here. This 1 battlecruiser shouldn't be able to beat the Spore, but the ones at bottom right killed that hatch and harassed the main a little bit, and now you have Sziky slowly running out of fumes.
Yeah, damn, all of a sudden supplies are 175 to 85. Still, Gypsy needs to start thinking about getting a 5th base. His 3rd base and 4th base still has a lot of minerals available, but if Zerg can get top left secured, if he can get top right 3rd base secured, he'll still be in an okay position. Another great counterattack from Sziky right there. Oh, move command on the Marines, get intercepted by the Lings. Good trade there for Sziky.
The battlecruiser at bottom right actually killed the gas, so that gas is no one mining either. And Sziky should be working on just the 1 gas at top left. The main and natural shouldn't have any gas at all. It's just depleted. So we're looking at these BCs doing a ton of damage here. Then they're still not dead.
Yeah, I was not expecting both bases to get wiped out. I was like, okay, these BCs can deny this natural, but they have done ridiculous amounts of damage. Again, another Ultra attack, the Irradiate, hurting a lot of the Marines, but it still does get taken down. And Sziky, he has retaken top right. I saw he transferred a lot of drones there. Gypsy is struggling for money though, but with the 3rd base getting put down again, he should have a decent econ still. You can see that it's all about top left. Like Gypsy consistently in Sziky's grill on the left side of the map. Defiler is doing a good job to buy time though.
Yeah, and if he can buy enough time as he stabilizes the top right base as well, I mean, that's 2 gas, and if he could kill the 1 BC at bottom right, then that would be a 3rd gas for Sziky. And it looks like, nope, that battlecruiser is still alive, and it's actually gonna kill this Spore even.
19 kills, man. That's like carrier levels of damage. Just ridiculous value from a handful of BCs. Of course, that Spore got the most value I've ever seen in an Eraser, shutting down this drone line. There's no burrow, it seems like, from Sziky, and losing these drones, I mean, puts him on what, maybe like 15 drones total? Because I don't think he has very many at top left.
Yeah, he doesn't have any at bottom right either. The battle cruiser did a good job at killing them. You can see Gypsy has very good battle cruiser control, just keeping them slightly out of range of the spores and maximizing their damage output.
Oh my gosh! Taps out, and the Big Gyp takes game 3 in a wild slugfest. I thought for sure after the openers with the Muta harassment, Sziky getting 3 bases, killing the five BCs. I thought 100% this was his game, especially once he got 3/4 of the map. But in the end, those BCs, holy smokes.
Yeah, that was insane value from those BCs. He was able to kill 2 gas bases and deny a gas at another base, killed the mineral line, killed the hatch even. And Sziky, for I think like 3 minutes, forgot that +5 carapace upgrade, and he kept engaging out of swarm. And when you're behind on upgrades, the ultralists just don't trade efficiently enough.
Yeah, it's true. I completely forgot. Like, the evolution chamber was at a pretty darn good time for what Gypsy's opener was, and definitely a big mistake having a lack of upgrades and lack of even a single defiler in those mid-left attacks that he was making on the 4th base. I thought, okay, if I see a dark swarm, this base is done for, and I think Sziky's got it. But somehow, Gypsy with immaculate defense, with the BCs, with the vessels, takes the game, and I have to rewatch that VOD. I mean, that's crazy. But we're going to go into a break now, guys. Gypsy 1 game away from getting 3rd place. Sziky definitely needs to get a win here, otherwise he's going to be out in 4th. So we're going to find out in just a couple minutes, but for now, we're going to take a break and we'll be back pretty soon. We are back, guys, and I gotta say, this is one of the best, first off, best matchups in general, but definitely one of the best third and fourth place matches I've ever seen. Both players are really slugging it out big time. We've had like, what was it? Every game's been like 25 minutes. Like, it's already almost 4:15 in Korea, so we've already gone through like an hour and a half casting, and we're only through 3 games.
Yeah, every game leading into the Ultra Late game, and you see how close these two players are in skill. Gypsy able to bring it back from what looked like a pretty devastating early attack with the Lings and Mutalis, but just managing to stay alive and defend immaculately, and good marine vessel control, and eventually with the BCs able to win in just a ridiculous game. And all 3 games have been pretty similar with just very close matches in general.
Yeah, well, guys, we have gotten the map that I have been waiting to see. It's going to be Heartbreak Ridge. And, you know, Gypsy can play every build on here. And not that I know much about Sziky, but Sziky doesn't strike me as somebody that will, like, lurker drop you or, like, use lurkers to kill the temples. I feel like he's kind of just a straight up type of player. And if you're not going to abuse, is what I'll say, abuse some of the layout of Heartbreak Ridge, I'm still liking Gypsy's chances here. And, you know, it's hard for Protoss play on this map too. And one of the moves that one of the Protoss players did a long time ago was they went like 5-gate goon. And I'm thinking about that. What's the comparable build that Terran can go for? Well, they could play mech. They could go for like a 5-fact timing here with Goliath. And that's definitely in Gypsy's arsenal. And since this is a 2-player map with limited bases, I think we may actually see a mech split map game here. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
I feel like Sziky can't go 12 hatch on this map. You really, a 2-player map, you gotta go probably a 9 pool. And you can really mix things up in the mid game with those temples. But again, I haven't really seen Sziky ever go for lurker openers, and just really utilizes the Mutalis. And as from the Terran perspective, we could even see a 1-1-1 opener. Can't get a complete wall. It's a little bit awkward to wall near yourself in your main on this map, or the natural. But you could still see a semi-wall and something a little bit different from Gypsy in the opening.
Yep, so let's get into game 4, guys. Gypsy 1 game away from securing 3rd place. Okay, in the mid left, our red Zerg. He needs your energy, guys, otherwise he's going to be out in 4th. It is Sziky.
And in the right side spawn, we have Gypsy as the blue Terran.
Okay, so actually, Gypsy got the good spawn, and the reason for that is even though the natural looks unwallable, there is one place you can wall, but it looks like he's not aware of it. But you can wall it. It is link tight, and I remember you can do it because I used to play October Zerg so often on Heartbreak Ridge, and he would always flood lings, and I was like, man, I've got to figure out a way to wall this because he just keeps killing me with lings. Now, you talked about how you can't 12 hatch here, so to see this very fast drone scout, I like it because he does not want to run into an 8 racks and, you know, instantly lose his natural. So I think this drone scout is intending to make sure he can get away with that 12 hatch. But look at this. This is a wall.
This is smart. This is going to be a semi-wall. It's going to be a 1 gap between the depot and the barracks, but this is going to be a solid wall in the main from Gypsy. Mm-hmm. And there's the gas.
Yep, there's the gas. Now, I was going to bring this up is that, you know, Hawk, who we saw in previous rounds of BSL, he's played versus Flash on here a couple times, like the real Flash. And Flash went for like 2-port or 3-port Wraith on 1 base. I can't remember exactly, but since Gypsy has the ability to play Wraith, and, you know, Gypsy and Hawk obviously are friends, Hawk may have recommended something like, hey man, go for Wraith Opener or 1-1-1 here. Now we've got another epic battle between the SCV and the drone. How much health does that SCV still have? It's got about 20 or so, and now the drone might actually get walled in by a depot.
Yeah, this will be a pretty big loss for the Zerg player, but no, it looks like he's able to retreat just in time. Gypsy gonna go wall it off. Again, oh, actually it's not a depot, it's a factory, so this will be a complete wall here. No links can get here.
Yep, this is one way to completely wall your main. So, but this signals to me that this is gonna be... What? He let the drone in. Oh, actually, this scout is critical because, as I stated, Wraith play, Flash and them do like to play it on this map. So even though he's gonna lose this drone, I think this was worth, because that means now he doesn't have to overbuild Hydras or anything to deal with a single Vulture potentially.
Yeah, so seeing that there was SCVs pulled off gas really walls off or cuts off the amount of options Gypsy has. This is 90%, 95% Vulture expand, and seeing that for Sziky is actually huge. Definitely worth the drone loss there.
Well, actually, this drone still has the potential to escape.
Oh
Is he gonna let him exit, man? Come on! No! No! He let the Ling, and then of course it walls his Marine out too. He let the Ling in on good night, and he's like, "Here, have a freebie. You can just leave." Oh my gosh! So that drone gets away. That's a bit sad. And he also confirms that there's a command center. I mean, he knew it was going to be a command center anyways, but I mean, to just see it is nice.
Yeah, so it looks like it is going to be 1-1-1. And I like that Sziky has the Observer, the Overlord, over that mineral patch that can be mined out, and a Vulture can sneak in through there. So that's good for him to have that, like, just aware of the map feature. And still don't see a Spire. Okay, there it is.
Yep, Spire just now started. Meanwhile, Starport was more than halfway along. So Wraith could get some kills. Now that's sunken. That's pretty nicely placed. I think it's barely in range of hitting that Vulture if it was to try to run through the bottom. Now, of course, we don't see it this time around, but you can glitch a Vulture through with a stacked SCV on that mineral patch at the bottom. That is one way you can annoy the Zerg player with a single Vulture, but not the case this time around. Now, speed is kicked in, and Gypsy may have gotten cornered. Yep, goodbye.
It's only able to kill one Ling. So you just don't look at your Vulture for half a second, and the Lings get that surround, and it becomes very difficult to break out. And this forces Gypsy into a bunker, which, I mean, not only because of the Ling threat, but there we go. The Lings are actually going to get in. The Marine might actually go down. He sees the Wraith and everything. Might actually get to the SCV. Cancels the bunker as well because it's already dealt with the Lings. And full scout again from Sziky.
Yeah, and it buys time with these Overlords. Like the Wraith wasted 4 or 5 seconds there. Of course, there's no Overlords out in the map to freely get picked off. So I'm not sure if he would have gotten one anyways. But nicely done with that small Ling run by catching the Vulture, killing a Marine, killing an SCV even. Definitely worth.
Okay, so we don't see a science facility here, right, from Gypsy?
I think that's a science facility. Oh, it's not. Okay, well, okay, Wraith with Cloak. I was sitting here thinking, okay, where's the science facility? Where's the armory? I don't see either of them. He's going to go into one port cloaked Wraith?
Okay, so this is something I saw for a little bit of time. I saw Sharp utilizing it, Flash utilizing it. And you get the Wraiths to deal with the 2 heads unit, and you only really need 2. They can ignore the turret fire, but then if they overextend, the Wraiths will be able to pick off a few of them. But there's an Overlord nearby. Gypsy wasn't able to kill that at the natural on top. You gotta be careful.
Yeah, but with the Ling scouting, I don't think he's going to expect there to be just one port cloaked Wraith. I mean, that's so rare to see that type of play. I think he would be expecting armory or vessel. So I don't expect it to have speed. So I think that these 2 cloaked Wraiths will actually be able to push back the Mutalisk. And now Vulture's into the 3rd base.
Yeah,
I mean, that shuts it down.
Sziky definitely expecting some kind of vessel or Valkyrie play. He has a couple Scourge grouped with the Mutalisk, and you can see there the cloak Wraiths. It's only 2. It's not a ton of damage, but it's enough to ward off these Mutalisks initially.
Yeah, it's enough to be annoying. Oh my gosh, Sziky finds the one vulnerable position just barely out of turret range, And these Mutas now down to 6, so they don't one-shot SCVs, but they already have killed a sizable amount of SCVs. But those Vultures have done a really, really good job to shut down this third base. But he's going to lose all of his Mutas here? Nope, he loses maybe 3 or 4, and he's going to back off.
Yeah, Vultures managing to slow down this third base quite significantly there for Gypsy. And we have Sziky. He does have actually a 4th hatch already, and he has Queen's Nest.
So he is going into battle Zerg. It looks like he wants to fight in the center of that. Oh, no, he doesn't. He's got the Queen's Nest, so I guess he will be going into Hive. But continued production of the Muta. Still no Hydrogen anywhere. Meanwhile, Gypsy ramping up his Rax production. He's got his science facility done, so Vessel's going to be coming out. I saw his academy about halfway done. But no upgrades. I don't even know. Okay, I didn't know how many Marines were in that bunker, but it looks like it's pretty full. So Ling's not going to be able to jump on that.
Queen's Nest done, but still no Hive. There's a Hydrogen finally. And Sziky only now is going to be able to saturate this third. So very good job there by the Vultures to really slow this down for Sziky.
Okay. I guess Gypsy is feeling the pressure that an incoming all-in could be happening. He's pulled off a decent amount of SCVs. He's got a single tank. He's got his first vessel coming out any moment now. His +1 is already started. He's got Vultures with speed, which allows him to actually run around these Mutas and Lings. So that's great for him for getting intel. Now, he doesn't know about this Overlord until right now. Looks like one of... Oh, I'm not even sure if a single Wraith died. Now, definitely one went down. So, nicely done eliminating a couple of the Wraiths.
And more drones here being added for Sziky. So he's going to have a lot of economy here. And I think he's going to go right into Lurkers before he goes into Hive. I really haven't seen the Hive started. He had the Queen's Nest really fast. Okay, there finally is the Hive, and he does have an Evolution Chamber. So he's just going to transition into a later game here. Gypsy's going to have a timing. Eventually, he's going to have a couple of vessels, maybe something like 3 tanks, and 5 racks production behind this.
Yeah, this is an awkward stage for Sziky because he got speed on his Overlords, which didn't really help him in the early stages. Now he doesn't have Lurkers, he doesn't have upgrades. His third base got shut down for a long time. I'm not seeing how he's gonna stop this incoming Marine medic with 3 tank push. Even with the Filers, I don't know if he could stop it, because by then there will be like 4 vessels out. And of course there's a race there that can cloak and snipe isolated Defilers if they ever are isolated. So Gypsy, he's gonna have a killer push for the next couple minutes, and Sziky's gonna have to be very careful with his small amount of units.
Yeah, and we have a lot of Skirk teammates, so this could be a way to slow down the push if we kill enough vessels. But again, Gypsy on top of his units. We see the first Lurkers being more. Sziky's gonna have a lot of Lurkers, but not as many if you would have been able to establish that third base faster. He does have high grounds he has to push up, and here comes a Muta dive on the vessels, gets the first vessels, and that's huge. That vessel probably had almost a second irradiate ready as well.
Yeah, that is massive, and we know that there's a lot of high ground all over the map on Heartbreak Ridge. Hold position Lurkers is a big time thing. I saw Sziky just highlight his Lurkers, so he may have just queued up the hold position right there. Gypsy, you gotta be looking, man, because this could be your tournament right here, or at least giving game 4 over to Sziky. If he moves commands into these Lurkers, oh, he realizes that there must be something here. Good siege, but Mutas jump on top of the tanks.
So that's 1 tank down. That's a lot less punching power there for Gypsy, and you can see how much time Sziky is able to afford, and Gypsy is retreating. I'm not really sure why.
Yeah, he's got to go. I mean, this is what you're looking for when you play 1-1-1. You've got a massive power spike with your tanks and vessels. You know Zerg stayed on lair for a long time because that's just how they play versus 1-1-1. So he's got to do some damage here. If he lets the Defilers get up, especially with Sziky taking the 4th base, Ziky's going to be in a fine position.
Well, Marines moving forward. They're able to get a good spread here. Lurkers being targeted, they're getting sniped on. There's not a lot of Marines left over, unfortunately, for Gypsy. 2 tanks with only like 7 Marines.
Oh, and those tanks are so far forward, and with the lack of Marines, these tanks are going to get taken out. Vessel's going to get taken out. And this attack did not work out for Gypsy at all. You can see he was floating a lot of resources there too, like 1.5k minerals, 1k gas. And now what do you do in Gypsy's shoes? He doesn't have like he doesn't have double starport, so he can't even replenish the vessel count that easily.
Yeah, and Sziky able to take a 4th base as he's defending. There's the lone vessel for Gypsy. Maybe he'll have another one after that, but he's getting his bio block completely smashed here, making a 3rd command center. He's only on 5 barracks. He really needs the extra starports. And look at Sziky. He already has +1 carry base. So even the upgrades are looking good for Sziky.
Yeah, this is a dominating position for Sziky with the lack of vessels, and he just uses only Irradiate on a single lurker. If Sziky keeps his units alive here and just waits for a Dark Swarm, I don't think it could be stopped, but he bleeds off 4 lurkers, a handful of lings, and for now, Gypsy will be able to save his natural from impending doom, but Sziky still has top left, and that's going to be 4 gas for him in just a moment.
Yeah, I thought maybe Sziky overextended there for a little bit. You gotta remember, he's gonna get a 4th base soon, so his economy is fine here. He's gonna have 4 gas, and there are the Defilers already done. Gypsy doesn't have a 3rd quite yet. He's adding a couple more barracks. He's been on 5 this entire time. They're the first 2 vessels we see. I did see him add a 2nd starport, so he will be able to build up that vessel count, but this is looking scary for Gypsy.
Yeah, 2 vessels when Defilers are out, that's not what you're looking for as Terran. There's a Dark Swarm. At least he catches the Defiler out in the center of the map. So this is not... Oh my gosh, he snipes the Defiler even. So a bit of a miscontrol there from Sziky. Breathes new life into Gypsy. He scans top left and sees it's already done. He's not happy about that, but he's going to reposition some of these Marines up there. There are no lurkers. There are no Sunkens. So for now, it is an open base.
Gypsy branching off a few Marines so he can establish his 3rd base, but I mean, with the Nidus, it'll be very easy for Sziky to reinforce. There's a Defiler already, and just a Swarm alone will buy himself some time unless some Fire Bats coming in here to support.
Yep, nice timing with the Defiler. He is going to save top left. But 4 base. Oh, he's going for the Hail Mary. D-Matrix Fire Bats. Let's go. He's going to try and bust through. Marines on top of the Nidus. Again, there's no lurkers here. Fire Bats are still alive. And does Gypsy have the firepower to knock this down? Still 2 Defilers left over, but with no Lings left over, I think he's actually going to bust it.
There's still 1 Fire Bat under the D-Matrix, and that being healed by the medics. It's a little bit concerning. Sziky will be able to get here, but will the hatchery be alive? I don't think so. I think Gypsy can't target it down. First couple of Lings have arrived. Vessel goes down. Oh, there's just not enough left here for Gypsy, but I think that was a good engagement there overall. He's able to shut down the Nidus. He needs to keep the pressure on, though, and keep reinforcing this location.
That was a clutch as hell plague right there, because it put all of the units down to 1 health and eliminated all of the Fire Bats. And that allowed those Lings to actually clean it up. He's reinforcing, luckily, with some more of his army, but he doesn't have enough units this time around. And just barely, Sziky will hold on, but more reinforcing units coming in from Gypsy. He still needs to okay, he does have more Fire Bats here, but where are the medics? Does he have any of them? He has 1. Oh, he eliminates both the Defilers there with a single Irradiate.
This base is definitely dead. The Nidus is not going to be able to get up. You have Sziky with a small counterattack, but Gypsy is on top of that as well. And, I mean, clutch play there with the attack, and I think Gypsy has done it. Sziky now is going to not only lose the hatch, but lose all the drones that were at this base.
Yeah, that was mega clutch from both players there. The insane plague and then the non-stop reinforcements from Gypsy. And now he's going to intercept these Lings and Defilers again in the center of the map. There's no Scourge here to kill any of the vessels either. So that's just a costly loss of units here for Sziky. Gypsy's got his 3rd base up and running now too, and Zyky's struggling to get a 4th base.
Yeah, we see mostly only Lings. Some Defilers, but not Scourge in support. And I mean, Gypsy has that 3rd base fully defended. Was able to kill the 4th, and Zyky's economy took a big blow there. Gypsy, even on top of his upgrades, already has 2-1. Something you see with 1-1-1 is Terran is really lacking on those upgrades.
There's no lurkers here. There's a lack of medics though, but he's found another open base. He's going to stem into it. That was another great value. Okay, well, that's one way you can stop Marines. You come in here with some Ultras, and they do have +2 armor. So once the chitinous plating kicks in, it's going to be +4 pretty soon, and that's going to obviously sway the tides of these fights a little bit in favor of Sziky, but for now, almost doubling the supply is Gypsy.
He's got to be careful with those vessels. He could target the skirt down, but he's not looking, and looks like a couple of vessels were taken out. We don't have speed quite yet on these Ultralisks, so we're quite... Okay, there's the kindness blaming. So we do have +4 now. Sziky should be working on that that speed upgrade. We have a dropship here, double dropship here from Gypsy. Gonna be able to deny this 4th base.
Yeah, and it's crucial to limit the bases of Zerg, especially with Nidus and being able to just instantly be everywhere on the map. And that's not even a cancel. And that means that this Defiler Ultra attack needs to deal a lot of damage here. Otherwise, Sziky is going to be basically only mining on one base. We're approaching almost the 20-minute mark where those main and naturals going to be mined out. And again, the Defiler is isolated from the rest of the army. He needs to get it synced up so he can put down these Dark Swarms. Oh, it gets popped!
Just one Dark Swarm. He's going to be able to deny the space. We actually see a lot of Ultralisks being mixed in for Sziky now. But you see his gas bank is completely dried up. Double drop to get sniped by Scourge. I'm not even sure how Sziky saw that. We have an attack at the natural simultaneously. Shouldn't be able to do a lot, but really just distracting Gypsy in the meantime. But we don't see any drone out on the map attempting to take a 4th gas here for Sziky.
Yeah, these Ultras are going to fall, but they did buy time. Like you said, the 4th mineral only has been denied for a long time. It does complete, though, and he did not like that SCV. It did not do a good job building that command center. He knocked it down, and that's burning. If he doesn't pay attention, it will burn down. But the key issue for Sziky now is these 7 vessels still alive. More Ling Ultras trying to flood in here. I'm not sure what the upgrades are from Terran. I think it's just +2 weapons, so these Ultras may be able to knock down the majority of the Marines.
It's just +2 with one character, armor upgrade, which is deep enough. But you can see the Ultralisk with the +4 characters doing a good job, even without the swarm. And man, that command center is still burning. We have Sziky taking a 4th, but it's only a mineral only, not the greatest space for him.
Yeah, and that's a lot of Lings running into the natural. There's a single Ultra that will soak up a lot of hits. Gypsy needs to knock down the Lings first. That's gonna die, dude. It's so close to burning down. Gypsy trying to hold on for dear life. He's still doubling supply. Looks like Sziky slowly running out of steam with his army. He's double expanding to the mineral only, trying to retake top left, and luckily that command center does get repaired. It was so close to dying.
Yeah, now the problem for Sziky is he will eventually not be able to continue putting on pressure. You can see he's able to pin Gypsy in his base, but the vessel fleet is growing, and still no 4th gas for Sziky. But this is a lot of Lings supporting this one Ultralisk, and this is what you want to see as a Zerg.
Yeah, it looks like this small attack may actually breach Gypsy, but with medics on hold position, they're not actually going to be able to get in and shut down the barracks production. Another small counterattack going to top middle. This Ultra shut down the entire mineral line at the natural. Finally some Scourge, but they're going to get intercepted by some Marines. Still manages to knock down one, but the game again is getting very wild. Open 3rd base, and Gypsy's gonna have to scramble to defend that position.
Yeah, and top left was shut down by a small group of Marines as well, so no gas base for Sziky yet. He's gonna take the mineral only. The Ultralisks are doing a fantastic job, but look, we just had +3, +2 finisher Gypsy, so these fights without Dark Swarm are no longer gonna be looking as good for your Sziky. You really need to mix in those Defilers, but every Defiler is basically one less Ultralisk.
Yeah, and Sziky's so desperate, he's taking the middle base. He just wants something, man. He needs some econ. He's done a great job with these small attacks to buy time, but every single time he does them, he's losing those expensive Ultras, as you stated. The Ultra finally going to get taken out. Finally, the Lings are going to be shut down at the 3rd base, and Terran should be able to stabilize. One Ling doing a good job killing a lot of SCVs.
I mean, we still see more Ultralisks popping for Sziky. The mineral only just finished. We're gonna have an eraser here, but this shouldn't be able to do a lot of damage here. Gypsy still having a tough time stabilizing. Oh, we have Scourge. Okay.
Luckily he intercepts that one vessel, but another huge attack. That's 4 Ultras, and they are heavily upgraded still at +4. So again, Gypsy's gonna have to run away. More vessels being pumped out from Gypsy. We don't know what happened with that eraser, but Sziky's extremely low on Oh, it looks like the Eraser did not capitalize and kill those drones, but he's really not mining effectively his main and natural anymore.
Yeah, I mean, Gypsy's defending mostly right now. All he needs to do is defend because Sziky still doesn't have that 4th gas. He's taking the middle base, but you see it's not mining gas. The middle only, again, not a huge priority to kill that. And Gypsy did deny top left and bottom right, so it's not like this map has a lot of gas bases left over, and he finally spots the middle, and he just has a massive vessel fleet here.
Yeah, he's got so many vessels, but he needs to get these ultras before they're on top of his army. Like, every time I see this reinforcing, oh, it's another move can. If I see, okay, I think it's just too much Gypsy now. The +3 weapon upgrade you can see has definitely kicked in. Those ultras popped very fast, and now Gypsy's going to be on the offensive to shut down this mid base.
And so he's desperately trying to get that 4th gas, and looks like Gypsy's already at the middle, and he has enough vessels here to support the Marines. We should see the GG here from Sziky, just really struggling to establish that 4th gas all game long.
Sziky still has a couple ultras. There's not that many Marines, but there it is, the Eraser. That is a game changer. Sziky cannot support his production anymore. Look at the mineral line at bottom middle. There's no drones there either. So Ziky's pretty much only mining on his main and natural, which are about to be mined out.
Yeah, just too many vessels here. Not enough gas for Sziky. And he did a good job with the ultra list, but eventually just can't compete against the vessel fleet. That's a nice ultra.
That's a nice Eraser right there. Apparently the ultra wanted to get through that. I don't know how it got through the minerals right there, but just blizzard things. But nothing in the bunker was a big mistake, and this base does get shut down for now. Look at the minerals for Gypsy. He doesn't have many minerals either. He's not even mining his nat. There's 4 SCVs that are not doing anything for him. He scans because he's like, dude, how do you have so much stuff? He erases the mineral line at the natural too, but Sziky's still fighting. He still has mineral income at that middle base.
He has vessels at his 3rd. He can kill these vessels. Scourge, here we go. The vessels are exposed here. He's going to be able to kill 2 of them. And I mean, Sziky just has no money. Can he survive long enough for this gas mining at the 3rd or his new gas base to kick in? And looks like Gypsy keeps attacking, keeps the pressure on, and no defilers here this time. Just ultra bling, no defilers, and the hatchery is going to be taken out.
This is it. There's no defilers. There's a single ultra, like 5 links. That's the entire defense of Sziky. The ultra at top middle, which shut down the base for so long. Oh, he survives with 1 hit, but supplies are 95 to just 38. Gypsy so close to securing 3rd place for NA, the first time in a long time. But Sziky, he still has a lot of drones, but the problem is there's no answer to the vessels.
Yeah, he just doesn't have any gas, and couldn't even get the +5 carry base on the ultra list. That's how gas stark he's been this entire game. And again, another 25-minute slug match between these two, and he's gonna send his drones to the mineral only. But again, the minerals aren't the problem. Well, I guess they are the problem now, but just the gas. Can't even make a couple Scourge here.
Gypsy scans. He sees that there's no mining bases, just bottom middle. He knows 3rd place is in his grasp. Still no +5 for Sziky, and another irradiated ultra. It's just too much Terran. The big Gyp, he's seconds away from securing it for Canada.
Hatchery goes down at 6 o'clock, and Gypsy has it. Sziky is running out. Doesn't want to tap out because it's his last match, but there's the GG.
Nicely done from Gypsy there. He restores some of the pride to NA. And this was easily one of the best of 5 I've ever seen. Absolute wild games coming down to the wire. Every single game, really. And it was just one player just barely outplaying the other one. And I think if we have a rematch here, easily it could be 3-1 for Sziky. Easily.
Yeah, these games are all very close. Every single one went to 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is a 2-hour best of 5. We didn't even see a 5th match. So that's how close these two were. And Gypsy able to pull it out. 3rd place, only a 2nd time in BSL history where an NA player has gotten third place. So nice job by him. His first big run in the BSL, got third place. Not too shabby at all.
Yeah, and he definitely got redemption from last season because, you know, he was not happy about all the flack he got for leaving that game versus Oyaji. And this time he's showing like, hey, that was just a fluke last time. I'm here to prove that I've got what it takes to go very far in this tournament. He did a really good job. But Sziky, he's proved that he's definitely somebody to watch out for in future BSLs. Remember, he eliminated Bonyth, you know, like a 5-time champion of BSL, and now bringing it to Gypsy. And I think next season he's got a good shot to make it into the final. So congratulations to him.